and maybe we get something that we can chomp our teeth into with the imbalances at the close, because Chewy is supposed to be an upweight. Maybe we'll see something at the end of the day, but we got plenty of time till then.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Nice to see NVIDIA. We're still in it right now. It's 153.50, so this is for, every time we come back, we have some kind of winner on, it seems like. But this is our newest position, is shorting the Qs. I actually went out for a walk. I would have been more short up here at 78.50 against the 200 period, moving average, but shorted it, got out, let it fly. Our out was 78.60, that didn't hit. So right now, huge move back in for the TQQs. And this is just right now going to be my second largest P&L here today is on the futures one more time. So there goes the Nasdaq to the downside. Man, we're short and we are loving life for sure. And then of course the NVIDIA trade just keeps on riding higher. We got some out here at 153.50. I mean, these trades right down in here, this is what trading is for me about, you know, taking a play and making that play. And we did it today. So I felt pretty proud of those levels down there for NVIDIA. And then we've got a lot of super chats. We want to thank everybody for all the love today for NVIDIA, and whatever you're trading, you know, do it well. That's it. You know, whatever you're trading, do it well. There's no other judge, right? I mean, your P&L is the judge, and if you're doing it well, it will be rewarded. And you know, if not, it's fine. There's always tomorrow, and there will always be more trading. Like yesterday, I wasn't even looking at NVIDIA, and yesterday we had our hard, you know, like our go hard trade was on AMD. And if you were looking at that today, this could have been an absolute monster as well, right? But you have to be over there. And then the only stock that I'm down on today, really, we're down on BBAI, but that was never a huge, well, because we were able to get out. We didn't take huge losses on that. But Palantir we chased because we play with proper size on Palantir. And whenever I'm losing on it, you know that we're going to not have a great day. So there goes Palantir to the downside. We'll lose. We wound up losing about 20% of what we made on NVIDIA on Palantir here. And again, I talk like this because I think that's important, you know, because you can have huge winners, but if your losers are just as big and your day is flat, then your day is flat, right? So we're trying to, you know, look at trades individually, but at the same time, you're paid as a collective group, right? So on your net, so you gotta be able to watch out for that. Palantir was not great. We wrote down 142.50 to 143.50. Once we broke right into there, 142, then we had to basically get out because it was not a great day for PLTR. Down 0.4% right now, PLTR. So.
That's one of the names that went, like that chart you see on Palantir, like the all-time high and then a fail.
Yeah.
Like that chart is exactly the same. Like it doesn't, completely unrelated. Maybe Hims is on the list, and I apologize if Hims is on the list, but almost exactly the same chart. Like you're gonna see a half a dozen to maybe more names that look just like this that people would have been interested at the open, where it's a huge breakup and then flush right back in. We saw Coinbase do this. It's wild. It's really oops, hit enter twice. Coinbase did this as well. It's just like the chip names are the ones that were able to sustain. And I didn't see anything else that wasn't chip related sustain those early breakouts. Almost everything seemed to reverse. Robinhood's a good example of that as well, Pitchbull. So, you know, the staying power was in the chips, but let's be real. If you're just looking at Coinbase here, I know those reversals look sick, but that's what the daily chart looks like. Sometimes you're just up 50% in a week, and some people need to take some profit. And that's what it can look like when that happens. But yeah, good looks there. There's no question about it. I think we got to go. Blanca is ready to go. I don't know if you can be in front of the green screen with the Blanca outfit there, Sharif.
Maybe one day. Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Neil and Sean, they're locked and they're loaded. They're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there is to join us during the midday show, Joseph and I, and get into that chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. but you got to be a subscriber in order to engage with us in the chat and to vote. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing. Here's a look at all 4 major averages. Just getting back into Greenville right now, even barely, is the triple Qs, the only one of the 4 major averages in actual green territory. There's a look at the Russell, the worst of the bunch, down 4/5, even more of a percent right now, with the ES about 0.07 in red territory, so marginally flat, and then the Dow down 0.4 on the day. It's been red all day, the Dow. NVIDIA, the first ticker, as it should be, as decided by you guys, all-time highs, or at least 52-week highs. That's what the notification I got on my computer. On NVIDIA, it's up an eye-watering, guys, 3.85%. And today, Loop Capital giving them the nod and boosting the price target, guys, from 175 to 250.
I'll take this over here. NVIDIA, the #1 name here on the sticky note. We talked about it right there, Loop Capital with the upgrade on the note. If we come over here, we'll show it just quickly, Andre. We will show this. There it is right there. So yeah, Loop Capital there. We were looking, look, a huge 150 will break. It's not even like we were so confident that it was going to break that we were loading up before that break, right? And I think that we talk about what you need to have in trading, and it's balls and confidence, because it can't be, you don't have to be that smart, or else, you know, I wouldn't be here. But there it goes right there, 149, 149.50, 150, just busted it out. Huge move up to 153. We thought this could be a big, you know, net changer, and that is what it is. So, you know, we are here to trade. We put on one of our biggest positions that we've had in NVIDIA, and boom goes the dynamite right there to the upside for NVDA. We're still holding on to a little piece of it as it continues to climb through the 50-period moving average. As Sharif said, man, this should be you know, on everybody's radar, at least moving forward now, if it's not already, as NVIDIA. I called all-time highs Friday, but looks like we already got that today. So 153.99, the brand new all-time high. Again, wasn't here when we had hit 154, but we had sat back down and able to get out some in the 70s right there, which we're at right here. Again, you know, really like the stock. It's a game changer net-wise for me, and there it is, man. We always say a trader's got to trade, and that NVIDIA one was staring us right in the face. And even when it broke, we loaded up. So there's the break at 150. There's the outs in the 40s. There's more shares when it came back down in. We got long at 149.70 on the break back down as well. So these were buying. This might have been the same candle. I'm not even sure. But we were buying anything above 149. We were long. So we got long early. We got long there. We got long more, and boom. I have an in and an out. I was like, what? I'm selling? And as soon as we sold, we bought it back. So then more buys, and then straight up. And, you know, as I like to say, the rest is history. And now we'll wait to see what happens at 154. I don't think I'll want to break that, but, you know, we'll wait. Maybe we'll get aggressive with it up there at 154, especially if the Nasdaq continues to run. I'm short right now, and we just got a great fill again on the TQQs. So, yeah, we'll stay long, small on NVIDIA, right? But again, small is in the eye of the beholder.
Look, I had the same note on NVIDIA. My note, same thing. But I also added AMD to it. I did trade AMD, but I got to go. I just covered SMCI, and this works two ways. Because if you're wondering what happened when NVIDIA made an all-time high, at the exact same moment, well, okay, maybe it's probably not the exact same moment, but around the same time, SMCI broke the volume-weighted average price when NVIDIA was making a new high, so it broke higher. I just grabbed the dip buy back into 46 off of it and then played the next 50-cent move, so a couple of 50-cent scalp trades there. In addition to NVIDIA, which I want to go to the daily chart for a quick little second, it's the same opening trade for me, the opening push, and then I kind of failed a VWAP there for a flat trade. It came out a little bit later here at 12:15, but I had literally just gotten up from doing the lesson of the day, so I was going to miss that one regardless. If we're going to finish the chip names, I'm going to go to AMD in a second, but NVIDIA, my only regret with this is, of the things, I shouldn't hate it too much, because this move, like percentage-wise, is exactly the same as like the ARM move that I got, but should have bought this twice instead of just once. I bought it one quarter and not the second. And when you like the stock, sometimes you want to be a little bit more aggressive with it. Now that you're through all-time highs, I don't think this is a sell. I think it's a hold. And just so we go through all of the chip names, AMD continues to be really strong on this daily chart. There's pretty much nothing that you can point to here that's really slowing down. It just did a consolidation break, a couple of strong days in a row. I played, because we're NVIDIA early, I basically was just playing dip buys on AMD a couple times into VWAP, then some higher lows. If I get VWAP again, I think I'll take a shot at this, but I missed that when I was pivoting to SMCI. A name that was not very good is up next, but then it wasn't traded, so that is good.
All right, guys, Tesla not looking good in Europe as European sales decline 5 straight months in a row. And that has Tesla all sorts of weak, by far the weakest of the Mag 7 names, guys, down into 325 and down 4.33%.
Yeah, I mean, it bounced off 320 on Tesla, so, that's not bad. I've said as long as this can hold the 50 and the 200 on this little bit of, I guess we'll call it bad news, because this really started when you got the robotaxi, like the investigations into the traffic violations, like that started yesterday. It was at, it was at a resistance spot and probably looking for a reason to sell a little bit. So that's what happened. And I think if you get to the 50 or 200, that's the most likely place for a bounce spot. It's like $311 or so. Give it a day or two, and the 50 and the 200 period are going to be at the exact same level. Maybe you get a little bit of that'll be a golden cross. Not that I'm a huge fan or care too much about that, but you could get a golden cross bouncing off that level if we can hold here in the next couple of days. As far as maybe the afternoon trade is going, it's not doing much. It's just kind of hanging out at 325 for support. My gut tells me if a weak stock is flat bottoming it, you want to look for the breakdown or the play into VWAP to short it. The problem is, yeah, this VWAP, you guys can see, like, I'm missing a little bit of data on a few of my charts from this morning. It's not a big deal. It's just that VWAP isn't really down here. It's a little bit higher. So you look at the resistance at 327 and not the line on the chart there, everybody. But I'd still remain bearish unless you can bust through the volume weighted average price on Tesla, at least for this afternoon.
All right, yeah, so Tesla, we talked about 320 and it just came in, and you should have probably taken the long if you liked it. I'm sure a lot of you did like it. I hate, honestly, like, I like this segment, it's fine, but I really kind of hate, like, looking back and saying, coulda, woulda, shoulda. So I always try to look at it and say, let's look forward and talk about a possible trade that we may actually make. So for me here on Tesla, 325, I mean, I think that's a break short. And I don't know if you in the chat were thinking about, I may talk about a long here or anything, but I just think you're underneath the 50, you're underneath the 200, you're underneath VWAP. We've really held VWAP all morning. I mean, we didn't even really test it except for right into there at 1 o'clock. So I'm going to play the short probably on a break. The break of 325 looks decent. It's more like this level right there is 324.70. I think to be more exact, to be very exact, I think it's 324.70. So I'll go short the magical number of 324.70. So that's a play that we're going to do for Tesla. So I think that's just not well received today. We had the negative news there about how many vehicles sold in Europe, and it just was not great. So 324.70, and I did get out. We're not going to talk about QuantumScape, but I got out of all my QuantumScape today. I didn't even just during lunchtime. I think it was as soon as we got off the air. So I was going to say probably we went, then we came back. So I was going to say it's probably like 570 or so out of QuantumScape, up 33% right there. I was cleaning up the account and had some shares left over. I think I was down on the stock, but QuantumScape, I'm out of that one. I just saw someone post about QS. So yeah, 324.70 on Tesla. I think that's a good opportunity to go short.
Almost $100 off the highs, guys. On Circle, we touched 300 not that long ago. Today, we're barely above 200, 203.70. We're down almost 8.5%. A couple of good headlines for crypto in general. Yesterday, being introduced into the Senate is legislation that's going to be able to kind of categorize whether a token is a commodity or a security, and whether it's governed by the CFTC or the SEC. So good regulatory clarity there. Not really helping the USDC issuer, guys. Circle down aggressively.
Yeah, it's on the other side of the V. Shout out to JT Trader yesterday, banking on Circle, although I think I don't remember. JT, if you're in the chat, you said you were starting to cover at 222. Just kind of curious if you held on to some of that circle, because I don't believe we got an answer on that. I know you said you took some profit at 22s on a 75-ish short, so that's a good one. It just seems like it's on the, like we said, it's the right side of the V, although I hate that term because it's coming down. This is not a bounce play. This is an absolute, this is a pullback. On the daily, there's still lots of room. The first non-round number obvious place would be the first consolidation we have isn't all the way until like the 160 area. So I think that's the reasonable spot where you could catch a little bit of a bid if we don't hold the 200. It's held 200 for now, but I'm not really thinking longs in circle at this particular point. I do think at some point I'm going to want to take a long as a day trade, but we'll wait till it gets down here. As I look even closer, maybe that's maybe a little bit more like the 150 area. And it's not going to be some place where you just, the day it happens, it's not going to be about just standing in front of 150, going 150 long, like 150.25 long with a 149.99 stop. That's not the way I expect Circle to bounce. I almost think it's going to have to break the level, take it back through. The low might be $1 or $2. You give it that range, because when it goes, it'll go 10, 15 bucks at a time. We know that. But I think you just got to be in a wait and see mode. Maybe it holds 200 and we never get down there, but that's the area that I'd be waiting to see if we can catch some kind of a long in circle. Didn't trade it today, but I think it's gearing up for something, maybe another leg to the downside before we're bullish on it again.
Yeah, market's kind of going sideways. I just see people in the chat. I'm starting to cover a little bit more here on the Nasdaq. I don't, the last couple afternoons we've been, and we'll talk about that when it's time, but just letting people know that I'm starting to cover. All right, so yeah, Circle. So we were talking about this for days, just to get short, right? The eventual end will happen, I believe, in and around 100, and I think we could stop around 150. Like, I would be surprised if we absolutely crater in the next couple days and then make it back into this 150 area where you can stand there and buy it if you want, or get run over again and wait for it to come back into 105 or 106. Like, I mean, we had to see the numbers. Like, I don't even know.
Good question.
Let me find out when they report right now. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to go CRCL, and I'm going to find out when they report. So on their calendar, no announced date here for them on Benzinga, but I don't know if you guys know. I think that's going to be an important thing to get going, right? Is what does this all look like? Market cap right now of $50 billion. That's a lot. There's not that many companies that are even in that realm, and these guys just IPO'd, and we don't really know the numbers other than the roadshow. So and I don't know what that is. So right now we have PE right here as 2,500, but that's not going to be accurate. So we're going to wait to see. I mean, here's the revenue. I guess this is what they had last year. So last year's net income, this is what I'm trying to say to you guys. If you can see this, this is, like I said, man, I'm just trying to make calls based on what I see. Their net income is $64 million. So $64 million net income, market cap 60, or I guess after today it'll be a little bit lower, 50 billion. So this is a accounting error, and this is $50 billion. So yeah, I think Circle goes a hell of a lot lower. My name is Sean Katina. I'm downgrading Circle.
Oh. Good call, Sean. SBET, guys, next on the list here, up almost 7.75%. There's no major catalyst on this one, but this headline did come in yesterday. SharpLink, SBET, acquiring, guys, about 12,200 ETH for about $30 2/3 million. Kind of taking a play out of Saylor's book there, but not with Bitcoin, this time with Ethereum.
Yeah, well, the rug pull, I guess they're taking a page out of that book too, because what goes up must come down. There's nothing, I don't know what's left in this move on SBET. Look, clearly when the voting happened and the excitement was going on, SBET was a big time runner. It is literally losing the bid in front of us. So, these catalysts can be fun for a hot minute, but, the history of the stock tends to just go back to normal. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like this would have been a heck of a lot more interesting if we could have caught this on the a little bit earlier. I didn't look at this until we were going through the rundown. It's like the upward trend is great, but the second you lost back through like 11:20 on this 15-minute, I would imagine most people, like if you're in a long, like how are you not trailing out at a level like that? Well, maybe he catches a bid at the low. It goes all the way and tries to catch a little bit of a bid. We've seen that happen before. I think you can. That's all you can hang your hat on at this point for SBET. It seems like the move might be a little bit done for them. Just a quick update on something which we are in. Maybe headed back to VWAP is Alphabet. We got a reload underneath the volume weighted average price, then it pressed back down for a minute, and now we're headed back up to VWAP. If it breaks VWAP, I'm just going to jump out of this one and reassess. It's not nearly as weak as Apple. So I thought what my look was, okay, well, Google hung on yesterday. The market presses down again. I think eventually it loses the bid and would follow suit with Apple, but it doesn't seem like it's as weak, so I don't want to give it all back. We'll get out through VWAP here on Google, and I don't know if you have any thoughts on SBET or maybe even just, it was ETH that they're holding, right?
Yeah, they're trying to build that Ethereum treasury there. No, I have a thought on another name that I'm in that is going to be actually, I told you I lost a little bit more money on Palantir actually than I actually lost double on Palantir what I did on Big Bear AI today. But BBAI right here, just trying to play this against 470 right now. It's been a disaster all day. I mean, boosh to the downside. Yesterday it was up 28%, and this morning it was up about 7 or 8% to start the day. We had always thought that this was going to pull back. I mean, we written it down on our note at 15.15. So for it to come back into this area, that's where our first long was, and it worked for 7 cents or so. Then we wound up getting out, which was fine, but we were buying it back in, and then we eventually lost out right there once it takes 480. So Big Bear AI, just a couple 10-cent hitters a little bit there, and only got out a couple times for some profits. So out for profits, out for profits, out for profits. But every time we were out, we were only out of like 10 or 15%. So kind of kept it, you know, enough shares on board to see if it could rip up. So right now we just have basically our average position again here on Big Bear AI, holding it against that bottom. So that's my, Big Bear AI is next. Okay, so let's go to Sharif for that story. I didn't see it on there.
Usually I do that.
I don't think Big Bear, was it always on there? I feel like maybe.
I have See, I swear that's what happens to me all the time though, is that you change the last one and then I look at it once and then in my head I'm like, we're not going to talk about this name. So you start mentioning it. But,
yeah, I didn't see it on there, so that's why I started talking.
No, it's all good.
At least the memory.
It's foreshadowing.
The eyesight is still half decent there. Watching for a Tesla break lower, but let's go over to Sharif and find the story, and then Neil can talk.
Was there a story?
Yeah, it was upgraded by Katina Capital a couple of weeks ago, but other than that, I don't think there was a story today. Was there, Sharif?
There was no story today, Sean, but there was one yesterday. That's why we had a big move up, and it has to do with defense contracts, airport deployments, and short squeeze hype. That's why Big Bear AI was up 25% yesterday. Today, giving back some of that, though, but still way above where we opened up yesterday. We're down about 8 2/3% right now, but still above yesterday's open.
So look, I mean, Sean was in it, but if there's good news for Big Bear AI, it's another one of these charts that break out early. And here's the thing. Whatever your style is, just make sure you sort of stick to it. Because I feel like if you were, like the way I traded NVIDIA ended up being wrong, but if you apply that to, I like to make sure I get out when it versus an opening break, because the reversal on an opening break tends to be violent. So I like trying to get back into a runner later as opposed to the other side of it. There's a host of these that I guess in hindsight you could have been short, but like if you look at where it bounced, and sorry about the missing data on the chart, I have a few charts that are gonna look like this. It's just a me thing. I'm not really sure. It could be something in my layout here at Real Trading, but it doesn't seem to affect anybody else. $4.70 was yesterday's only dip at VWAP. That's exactly where it's held on. And if you look at the daily chart in here, it's also a prior high on the daily. So technically speaking, it's a gorgeous level. I like pullbacks into prior resistance. So I kind of think maybe I should be going long at the 470 level when I see it. Maybe it'll tick down there, but that's a good, it's the right look. It's support to resistance on multiple time frames. The only weird thing is it doesn't seem to be moving all that much. like I would kind of expect it would go a little bit further than that. Maybe you need some volume to pick up, but it's the right place for it to bounce. Right in here on a pullback. Like you hold 470, up move intact, and it's just a standard pullback into a prior high and taking the stairs to the upside. That's sort of the thing. Like you're going to get pullbacks. Anything that pulled back and didn't lose key support or key prior resistance, I think you put like a nice tick in the box and say that it did pretty well today.
Okay, each year 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE listed Oragenics, symbol OGEN, is changing that. We had them on yesterday with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. Guys, this is very, very important. Rewind yesterday to 2:45 p.m. When it was more like 3 p.m. Yeah, it's good call on that one, as they have some technical difficulties. Maybe they were foreshadowing the power outage. NYSE listed OGEN is changing that with its first in-class intranasal drug, as we just talked about, designed for rapid brain access, with the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027. Oragenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more by going to yesterday's show at 3 p.m. and finding out more about Oragenics, and we want to thank them because we talk about it all the time. We had Pat LaFontaine on yesterday, and his career ended abruptly. I mean, he had a great career, 14 seasons or something like that, in the NHL, and did really well. Yeah, Hall of Famer.
Would have been
one of, if not the best American hockey player of all time. Come at me, America.
I don't follow, I'm not the biggest, follow in hockey, but, when I was a kid, at the time he retired, in our books he was, but I don't know if anyone stepped their game up ahead of him.
Well, there's one better player, and his name is Austin Matthews.
Well, okay, well.
Statistically.
Yeah, you know what, he probably, statistically at this point, he's ahead of so many things. We love the Leafs.
But anyways, yeah, and then we had Brett Favre on.
154
arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Of course, he has 274 games
NVIDIA 154
in a row. Yeah, we've got NVIDIA along. We're all over this. Yeah, NVIDIA right there. Thanks, Neil, for bringing it up. But there it is, man. The awesomeness continues today with NVDA. Like I said, man, I know it's not a game changer for many today, but for me it was. And like I said, we've doubled up our month on this trade alone today. So this is we talk about trading different everything around here, and I'm just really happy that for myself, I've really upped the share size, and I felt like trading good share size, but now we're getting a little more confident, and it was a really good one. And also, like Neil had mentioned too before, Circle was one of the biggest, I think the biggest trade. We talked about it. It's too bad that Neil and I weren't live. It was on the midday show, but was one of the biggest trades there. And then we top it off here with NVIDIA, and just great opportunities. Like you never know the month what's going to hit, right? I mean, day to day it's one thing, but if you're going to trade on prop or anything like that, you could make, and this is what I was saying, you could have made a great trade on Circle today by going short, but then maybe you also shorted NVIDIA and lost, right? At the end of the day, it's all of our trading. Neil's traded maybe double or triple the symbols that I have today, but it's all about, for me, finding the best opportunity and pushing the envelope as much as I can anyways. And I don't even push it even 10% of what I possibly could, but I think that's something for me. The reason why I call up Circle was just the opportunity that we had on that IPO there, and I'm glad that Neil mentioned that, because I was mentioning about what kind of a month it had been, and I actually forgot about the trade that we had that day on Circle, where it literally went up $30 almost immediately from its IPO price. So boom goes a dynamite straight up there for Circle. So all right, Tesla. Oh boy, Neil, another trade I gave to everybody there. So there it goes, man. I mean, whatever, everybody can take whatever they want, but there it goes, bang, quick little 50 cents. Look, man, I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 positions on right now, and we're just adding another one here. Tesla, nice move to the downside. And again, remember what I said about that that discussion that we had about the rundown? This is why I did it. I was talking about giving you guys a trade idea, and there it goes right there. So far, so good. I didn't even realize I was in until I looked at what someone was saying right there. Tesla going lower. Neil, it's again right there. And like I said, man, this is Neil's line, but everybody trades their own style. But there it goes right there. Nice downside play for Tesla right now as it goes. And there it goes, $1. Glad we talked about that live here on the show. And thanks for anybody that's following, because hopefully this just helps you top off your day as well. And it is tough, man, to sit here and host, trade, think of jokes, things like that. But I mean, I think like even right now, as I'm putting orders out to get profit here, now that's $1.20, $1.30 now in the money as we go downside on Tesla. Not a bad trade right there for TSLA.
Yeah, good one on Tesla. I'll admit I was distracted because it's the same idea I set up there as well. But I didn't. No, I didn't put the stop order in. No, we were going to the upside, and I was going to do the same thing on SMCI that I did on Nvidia when it broke Nvidia. So my focus was when Nvidia broke the high before, SMCI was the cleanest and easiest breakout trade. Like, it was just like this move on Nvidia went 70 cents, and a stock that's a quarter went like almost a full $1 right away. So I thought the same thing was going to happen. You're going to break out the top on Nvidia, the momentum's going to come back in SMCI, and I'd be punching long into the high of the day. So I may trade a lot of symbols, but I usually trade them one setup at a time, everybody. But I want to give a shout out to AIML. This is on the CSE here. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day, and every beat is a data point. AIML Innovations, that's AIML on the CSE, find them on the OTC as well, AIMLF, they turn that data into potentially life-saving insights with max yield. An AI engine that filters noise, labels each heartbeat with lab-grade precision, and shrinks ECG analysis from days to minutes. Their mission? To revolutionize how heart disease is detected, monitored, and prevented. Learn more at AIML Health and follow at AIML _INNOVA on X. Scan that QR code in front of you. I promise you, almost everybody out there knows somebody with some kind of a heart condition, probably, or affected by it. I know in my family it's a big deal, and everyone monitors their heart because of it. I've never had any issues. I had one scare, but it ended up not being a big deal. All right, so back to the market. Pitchbull saying get down SMCI. Yeah, you could have shorted. Look, man, when Nvidia was at 154 and didn't break, you really could have shorted that as well. And as it starts to come back in, I'm looking right back where it bounced the last time. It bounced off 46. We were able to get it long into 46.5. So I'm looking for that 50-cent scalp trade again. But last time it made the bottom on a 3-minute, and then I'm entering after the bounce. Like, I'm not going to just sit on the falling knife. I want to try to catch it after it's bouncing. When I play it, it's either like trend reverse or on the bounce here, as this one looks like it's headed right back into the downside. So a little bit of weakness. Nvidia could still break out. It's less than 40 cents away. Like, it's not even, they get pulled back, but it's at 153.70. So Nvidia could still break that high, and that's the other way that I'd want to be long in SMCI, is if Nvidia can take out the high and then just kind of go with it. So those are two names that I'm watching pretty closely, unless Apple gives another opportunity for the short. I would love to see this pull back in to a prior support level, like the 201.5 area, and then reshort this. I don't think we'll see VWAP again for Apple. This one sold off hard at the close yesterday. Let's see if it can repeat itself.
Yeah, Apple, we're now almost $2 in the money there on Tesla. So again, congratulations those of you that thinking about this and have it. I was just looking at the bottom though, 320. I think I don't think there is some consolidation at 322. All right, well, there it is. Now it's $2 in the money, and yeah, there it goes. Nice move back into the downside. 322.50. I mean, we got here real quick. I didn't think we'd be doing this. I mean, look at the market's not doing anything, but it's Tesla that breaks that shelf. I still have half of this position, so I'm actually going to get some out. Just put some out at 95 there to get that fill. So there it is. We just got it now. So we take some out at 95. I'll bid a little bit more there at 50s, and then if Tesla wants to make the move down, then there we go. So like I said, today we've traded Big Bear AI, Bull, NVIDIA, Palantir, Futures, Tesla. So 6 names right there. And yeah, we'll just wait to see where Tesla wants to go on this one. Shout out to Donald J. Trump. Okay, so nice move in. Again, we'll wait. That's 322 flat. I'm going to wait for a break on that. We're waiting 322.50 right now. And then 320.50, maybe that's something. Let's go to 321.05 for a little bit. We'll have a little dance party if that makes the move back in. Here comes Tesla again. All right, so TQQs. Just based on NVIDIA, it's a $4 winner on that one. So that was going to be a good trade. But we are trying to break back below the 50 period. So I'm going to get a little piece out. We are almost all done right there on NVIDIA. I mean, it's amazing. Like right now, we had the low of the day, and like we have 149.73s, right? The low of the day on NVIDIA, we have 149. Well, first of all, we already had that low of the day right there, but you know that was in the pre-market. The low of the open market on NVIDIA, I mean, I guess is right where it opened, 149.30, but then that dip down is 149.50. So we have that trade, and then we also just took out some more at the top. I mean, I never know how much to hold, but. That was that kind of a trade. Our net is singing right now because of Tesla. It's not NVIDIA. We don't have enough on, and the TQs, like I was saying, we just got another fill down there at 95, but it's not really doing a whole heck of a lot. The market itself trying to barcode. The reason why I'm short the market underneath VWAP, underneath the 50 period it was anyways, and we did have that little bit of a test back high side. I wonder if that's another reshort there on the TQQs right there against the 200 period moving average. Not bad, but 4 minutes ago we just got a 96. So I don't have any more bids. My next bid is 77.60, so we are expecting a lot lower. But man, your trade of the afternoon, Anil doesn't have any position, so once he gets into it, maybe. But right here, Tesla, over $2 right now on Tesla.
But you got to be patient in the afternoon, wait for the spots, because yesterday I think there was only one trade all afternoon show. But that's, I mean, the market, I think, is a little bit moving. I think it's moving a little bit more today. So I think you will find some better opportunities here. But yesterday, there was literally nothing.
Yeah.
There was, I mean, Apple did its thing, and even that. And then at the close, maybe you had some shots. Apple is the one thing I'm looking at for this pullback up to try to fade into. Other than that, it's going to be NVIDIA, SMCI, maybe Google again, but those are the four stocks that I have up. If there's something else that you guys are watching, let us know, because I'm not seeing anything really popping off. Volume scanners are relatively quiet at this point, and you want to try to make action. Well, you want to try to join action, not sit there and trade into something that isn't moving and hoping something is going to go. Ideally, like I said, I want the press back up into here on Apple, 201.60. But I have to acknowledge this is the open price and the initial bounce, and it's cresting right here at 201.25. So if we put in a little bit of a curl here, right now it's still working to the upside. If it puts in a little bit of a curl here, I can also short it right underneath the 25, maybe take a 20 breakdown, and then that'd be like a very tight stop, just because it'd be breaking down through 20, and then your stop is right here at 26. That's a really tight stop entry at a level like that. Whereas if it gets up into VWAP, you got a lot more room to play, mostly because you have more room to fall. In this case, yeah, as I say, it's going to break out. So if it's breaking that high, then we're waiting for 201.60, and that's going to be the next price for me. NVIDIA is now working down, so that throws out the SMCI dip buy at 46 until NVIDIA catches a bid. I'm using NVIDIA as my SMCI futures right now. And it worked before, so I'm just going to try to play it again. We bounce off 153. That's the prior high. I believe we had mixed, I don't know, some people were saying the all-time high is one thing or another. Ultimately, if it's underneath 153, it's a fail of the all-time high. It was above 153. Sometimes, you know, pre-market prices, close prices, everyone has their own different definition. But 153, I think, is the key line in the sand. That's where the late breakout was. If we bounce off there, as long as we're holding 46, that's where I want to be on SMCI. So that'll be the key that I'm trying to watch. KK is asking about HIMS, or even saying what the next support is on HIMS. He's at 40.75, I believe he just threw in the chat there. Sometimes it's like, okay, I don't know that you can call a level where it just happened to hit once a support level. Like, it's a theoretical support. Like, I would say it's more along the lines of, yeah, that's the place I might consider buying down there if I was making a trade. But there's really nothing supporting it. It's just a bottoming tail wick literally at the end of the day. That doesn't really tell you much in terms of accumulation for HIMS, and everything about this says it's still on the backswing. And I would venture to say support would be more down around the low 30s next on HIMS when you look at the daily chart. This just looks like a bottoming tail wick that HIMS has every intention of getting back to at the current rate. I don't want to fight those. I don't want to fight anything. And I see Dinkelberg in the chat is waiting for the low to mid 30s as well. I agree with you, Dinkelberg. I wouldn't be looking for the long on HIMS until at least down there in the short term.
All right, just a couple more outs there. We got an out on Tesla in the 60s, and we got one at O's as well. So a couple more outs there for Tesla, and we'll just wait. We actually got an out also on the TQQs. You might have saw us have a good time. Ramin's going to be posting something up pretty soon about the fun times we had on the midday show. So get ready for that. This is what was for lunch today for us. That's just like a seasoned chicken breast. It kind of looks disgusting in this picture, but it was pretty good. Joe gave it a 7.5. And then we had the salad, which was really just, I guess, mixed greens with a little bit of cucumber action there. And then something that they called coleslaw right there. It was actually pretty good. What's up, Mel Spears? That looks so good. Tweety, so good. Sebastian, what's up to Obi here? Would you just look at that right there? What does this person have? Faith-based trades. Lunch minus avocados. Loving avocados. Yeah, chicken, you're right about that. What's up, Mike Walker, as well. But dump the lettuce. Yeah, exactly. I really love salad, so shout out to my Italian background. We had basically salad every single night after the meal. So awesome. What kind of vinaigrette? I don't know. It was like it's kind of like a lemon-based vinaigrette, I think, like maybe lemon poppy seed type of stuff right there. But definitely,
it was
definitely pretty good.
Not too thick.
Yeah, you don't use salad
I'm not a
dressing.
heavy, I'm a light salad dressing person. Like just a little bit of, if you're just a little bit of olive oil, and it would be enough for me. I don't know. I always find if you make it too thick, it just overpowers. Because I want vegetables in I don't want just straight lettuce. Like I want to taste the vegetables in my salad, not the salad dressing.
Yeah, same. And then if you do have the opportunity to get out, man, and spend your time with your kids, I don't get enough time with mine, and I spend a lot of time with them. So, time is forever against you. So spend as much time as you can. And last night, there it was right there. And you can follow me. I post all the time pictures of family and stuff like that. So go follow me at TraderTV Sean, both on Instagram and on X. And there it was yesterday. We had a great time trying to teach my guy right here about a little bit of golf action. So he has my old.
You lefty too?
Yeah, he's a lefty too. So he has I'm righty everything, but lefty batter, lefty golf. So all right.
But do you hockey stick left or right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything left except for right with right hand. I'm right-handed, but shoot left. My backhand would be this way for tennis. Baseball left, golf left. I don't know. I don't see how you could baseball something different than how you golf.
We have a kid who on our team. He's a lefty. He throws lefty. He hits lefty.
Yeah.
I don't know if he golfs. I would presume he golfs lefty, but he hockey's the other way.
Yeah, I know most hockey players, it's pretty much 50-50 in the NHL, but yet only I think it's 6% or so of golfers are left-handed swing. So there you go. So yeah, I'm the odd one, but I'm the odd one around here too. So, but there it goes, golfing, definitely. And that was indoors, man. Yesterday it was pretty warm, to say the least. So indoors yesterday.
I don't know how I got
a little bit better.
I don't know how I got suggested. I have a funny golf thing I saw on YouTube. I did get Apple, not the price necessarily. We wanted off the 60s. It just curled at exactly 50. I tried to get some at 47 and ended up getting 40s on the way back in. It's already bouncing. This is probably just a scalp trade. Apple is already catching the bid. Higher low, consolidation. This might only be a little bit of a scalp trade and just not even that much ultimately on Apple. Yeah, we didn't even get the price. It didn't come all the way back into this level, if I'm being real. So it'll end up being a scalp trade. I'd say that was like a C+ entry anyways on Apple. So we'll just get in and get out. I saw this thing on YouTube. It got suggested to me. I have no idea why. Some dude rented it like an Airbnb. And on the very last day, he discovered that inside they had a golf simulator.
Ah, boo.
It's like,
too bad.
Like, I'm laughing.
I think that would have been like in the description of the Airbnb.
But like imagine the absolute dread. You're just like, what, really? It was here the whole time. It was just like a closed room.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was open it.
We're putting our golf simulator right there.
Yeah, we have a lot of empty space right now.
Yeah. Neil, go pick up a paintbrush, man. Go help that guy out, man.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I would, but I got a show to host over here. But yeah, no, that would be fun to see Neil do that.
My brother is the master for sure when it comes to. He's just a machine. He's tall, and of course the hand-eye coordination is fantastic. No, like we did all of our. I shouldn't say all. Like we did Aaron's room, we did our room, but like I don't enjoy painting, but like I'll do it. To do it, but having my brother around to do the corners and reach all that stuff is always a big help because he's like 6'3" and he's an artist, and like and especially like anything that needs like detailing in and around, he's just an absolute machine when it comes to that. Thank you, Len. So quick little scalp in Apple, it does catch a bid, and anytime I see you catch a bid at prior resistance, if I think it's a home run, fine, but if I think it's a single or a double, we'll just try to take it out. I'm looking over the futures are. They're not doing much at all.
Correct.
So like it's
well, they're coming back.
We're coming back into the downside. So I don't want to see buyers in the way at any point. And I also looked up and saw that we caught a bit of a bid on Nvidia right here. It's almost like 153.5. So as that's starting to curl up, I glanced over at SMCI, which also made a bit of a bottom here. Now that's not a very good looking candle. It is held 54.8. That's actually a very bearish candle, so I'm not entering on the hold of 45.8 unless we get something green on the next 3-minute pop on SMCI. So I have eyeballs on the same couple of names here in the chip space, looking for the dip buy, but that's not looking bullish. I might have to wait till VWAP instead. Adara?
Here is, we're going to take a look here at, I guess, the market. You could also look at Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, because apparently we just had this coming up 4 minutes ago on X. Bill Pulte, who leads, I guess, the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, said that he ordered Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac to prepare their businesses to count cryptocurrency as an asset for a mortgage. So now it looks like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will be dealing in crypto. So keep an eye on these names. Keep an eye on crypto. One of many stablecoin and crypto-related catalysts we've seen this market process, especially over the last couple weeks, but not really moving. This is just the Nasdaq, but I'll pull up FNMA for a second if I can. It's not really moving these too much here. Pretty flat, pretty stagnant. Now getting actually a little bit of a push. When I first checked, it wasn't doing much. Back to you.
Yeah, seven years ago or so when I was wearing a similar hat, but a different hat for real trading. Opening up offices, helping traders, hiring traders, doing all this kind of stuff. And I had asked at that time, this was 7-8 years ago plus, for my salary, because I was also opening up offices and collecting for the company Bitcoin to start to open up some offices and things like that. And I asked at that time for my pay to be received in Bitcoin. And that's when we were talking about Bitcoin 10K, Bitcoin 5K, things like that. I always think back to like, if they had just said yes, or if I had just converted myself, my paycheck into crypto. Wow, there was that Baltimore Raven guy. There was I think it was O Lineman that took some of his pay crypto a couple of years ago. But and then there was that one family. I think the price was between 16 to 20 something thousand, and the guy cashed everything out.
No, it was a guard. I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a bigger dude. There as well, but anyway, it doesn't matter. That was good. Yeah, I don't even know what that story was going on there. I don't
think it's going to move Fannie and Freddie, but
this is what Fannie and Freddie's been doing all day. So just on that, I did.
It's going.
No, it's not.
That's 4 cents.
Not even 4 cents, man. That move, but I mean, it's not. This is what it looks like right now. So we'll give a shout out to Jeff Mendel. I was looking at it here around $10 because this is what it was doing. All the money that I make here has basically been all the trades that I've showed you. Normally, if the pink sheets are going and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are going crazy, we will trade that a little bit, and I'll show it to you. But we all have different things that we do. But I don't. For me, pretty much everything I'm doing is right here visible on the show, and that's why I just want to show you this Fannie Mae. Like I'm in it, but I'm not in it very big at all. So we're just long right here on Fannie Mae. Long at 10:01 right now, so it's not doing anything. But Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac doing that. And then just again, before we go over here, because I don't want, we've already made this trade on Tesla. I'm looking at the math. We have about 20 to 25% left. We just had a couple outs. We took 323s twice right there, which is $1.60. So, you know, I'm thinking about, let me put out another piece right here at 80 if we can get it. I would always rather bid 80, like when it's moving like this, there it is, so we get the rebate at least. And I know now it's going to go to 70s and the rebate doesn't matter, but most of the time I don't like to punch out of a winning trade. I'll sit there and try to get filled up on the bid. So let's just take another piece out, man. I mean, it's still 85 cents, or actually more than that, $1 or so out right now. Wait, it's 80 cents. Yeah, that's right. So 80 cents there. It did go down to about $1. So we've taken a lot out. Like most of our outs were down here at 323. This was real early, real quick once it broke that level. And again, like I said, I mean, I'm just here because of trading, I feel like. And that one, we talked about it right there, breaking 324.75. So I put that trade on, and now we're just going to wait to see what winds up happening here into the close. But as Neil said, there may be nothing actually going on. The futures are what they are, and I just took some more out down there on the futures, 92s. Like just trying to get in and out, right? Like 4 positions over here, and they're all pretty comfortable, like including NVIDIA's going. NVIDIA's going to be 100x the next, not 100x, 10x the next biggest winner. So, I mean, I'm already pretty chilled out with this, just waiting to see if we get 354, 154 again. 354 comes in a couple years, but for right now, 154 on NVIDIA would be what it's going on. Oh yeah, Tyler, you asked me before about Marvell, and I kind of forgot about it. Yeah, so I think, so we went long, and I don't normally do this. We went long pre-earnings on Marvell right into here. I remember it was this day. It was this day that we got long Marvell, just the day before it. We're long at 60. It must have been, yeah. So this was, is this the earnings day? Yeah, so run up into earnings. Anyways, we're long 64.90. So it was somewhere in this candle. I mean, that candle 64. The day before earnings was 65.30 to 64.30. So we're long, basically, let's just call it 65. Earnings came out. And again, it was a position we were thinking about getting out, you know, if it does break 60. It did come back in there. We held it about at $4 or $5 against us. But again, that was just kind of a washout there on earnings. We did hold the 50-period moving average. And since then, you're starting to loop up. You got that smiley face there. I just think that Marvell is primed for an AMD type run, and we haven't got anything yet. This is just getting started. So the 200 period is right there at $83. So I think that's where it's going. What's it doing today? Not much. Pretty flat, to answer your question there, Tyler. I just want to see what AMD's 200 period looks like, because where is that? I assume we're already past it. That's why, well, yeah, so once you took out the 200 period moving average, there you still went up another 15% there on AMD. I believe Marvell's better than AMD. So I just think that if you look at Marvell right now, they have a lot of upside in this name. Like, you're not even at the 200 period yet. So if you get to there and you AMD yourself, then you're up to $95, giving us that 50% winner on a name like this. We'll take that, man. So like, you know, you sit in the Nasdaq or sit in something that yields 4 or 5%. Like, you know, this is a huge move right there for Marvell. So let's see if it can get there. I don't have any target outs. Our last out was right here. We got a 75 fill on one of the days when it was going ham, and we got out at 20% of that. So we're still holding on to 75, 80%, I guess 80% of Marvell. But yeah, so that's just a little bit of talk about the market. I hope, or some of those names, I hope the market continues to go lower here, but I don't know, man. Oh, put some more names in here, and we'll figure it all out, which possible trade that you guys have or what you want us to look at. And we're going to go to Adair, then we'll come back. Micron report, so that could be something to look out for.
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends over at Prop XP. Level up your trading game with Prop XP. Up to 1 to 200 leverage and static drawdown. Scroll the site and pick your challenge at propxp.com. Trade directly on our platform. Sign up, try it for free, and start your trading journey. Enjoy rapid payouts and real human support. No bots. Rated 4.6 stars on Trustpilot, trusted by traders worldwide. And right now, you can get 50% off with code TraderTV. Links in the description. Be the trader, get funded. Join Prop XP today. Prop XP, your edge starts here. Visit propxp.com. Before we send you back, I really want to quickly mention as well, this came out, I think, half an hour ago, but I'm seeing it circulate a little bit on X right now for whatever reason. So Boeing on watch, apparently announcing in an internal email to employees that it's going to be replacing its current head of its Air Force One program, replacing it with a new hire from Northrop Grumman. So it could be a good look for BA's Air Force One segment. Keep an eye on Boeing. Back to you.
Boo, Boeing. No, look, Dinkelberg was mentioning, and everyone has their own preference in the chip space recently. I think you couldn't have lost on a lot of these dips. Micron, Dinkelberg likes. Just remember, these guys report. Everyone else is through the gauntlet but them. All right, like Marvell's reported, AMD's reported, NVIDIA's reported, ARM is reported. Like, they've all reported. And so the last one you're going to get is going to be Micron. So anything can happen here. It's a stock that has more than doubled up from the lows. But this chart, to Sean's point, like, if you bought this off the 50-period moving average, like, it gave you, what, 30%? Something like that? Maybe even more, like 30, oh, more than that, 40% plus from the 50-period mounts on MU. I liked ARM, and these charts are all the same thing. Like, what's the, like, it's almost exactly the same chart, ARM's chart. Although, oh, I sold some ARM today in the middle of, I got filled somewhere in the middle of the day here in front of the 160 level on ARM. I just wanted to make sure that I took some profit on this one. This is one I bought a lot earlier. I bought down at like 86 something and just wanted to take some profit out. I think this one's getting a little bit frothy. Like, I like ARM. I just feel like the push, like, they're not necessarily as big of an AI thing as some of the other names in the space. So as much as I like them and the moat they've got around, I just feel like it makes some sense to take some profit. Like, it's gone a little bit far and a little bit fast, and I want to be ready to buy the next available dip that I think is going to happen in ARM. I'm going to go over here. I literally just flatted SMCI in and out at exactly the same price, which I know what happened. That's when you have a stop. I like to put stop orders before I get into position. So I put a stop order before I got into position, and then the stop was probably just misplaced. So it ends up punching me out at the entry price. So I'll look to get back in. As it looks like we're bouncing, NVIDIA, I see NVIDIA heading back to the upside. Where are we at? Almost at the 154. 153.85, so it's about to break the 154. So I said I wanted to be buying into SMCI on the way up. If it breaks, that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. If NVIDIA breaks out and SMCI doesn't break away from 46, I'll know it pretty quickly. So eyeballs on 10 cents away from the 154 level on NVIDIA. Last time this happened, where you made a fresh high on a flat top break on NVIDIA, SMCI kind of really got going. I'm looking for the same thing to happen at that 46 here. Pitch bull, yeah, it looks a little bit different from before. I'm just going to take the shot. It gave you a nice curl. It's also a trend break, so it's kind of doing two things at once. Like, it also broke the downtrend. If I was playing the trend break, I'd be in it at the same price earlier anyways. I'm just going to play this into that high. And if we don't break 154, I can always just jump out of the trade as well. Apple, it looks like it's slowly moving back lower. It's about to go into that supply zone at 201. Somebody was holding the bid there. We'll see if they're holding it again. Maybe a breakdown through that 201 will make sense as we enter into Power Hour, everybody. And hopefully in Power Hour, NVIDIA wants to take out the millions of shares that are at the offer at 154. Given that it's done 206, it shouldn't matter. But sometimes it just takes a while. Like, you can have, like, NVIDIA can go through any price level. It doesn't make a difference how many shares are there. You can just find a situation where it has to go there, get to 98, get to 99, run out of people that are scalping it, and then see the offer on the actual level one. And then when the offer gets on the level one, that's when you actually get through. So you can see this happen multiple times. In the morning, it's so much easier to break out in the morning than it is through a level like that in the afternoon.
What's up? Oh, I've never seen this name before. Essence of Love. Ooh, nice one. Essence of Love. I was like, what? How am I going to say that? Very grateful for the opportunity to hang with all of you guys during the day. Yeah, I mean, thank you to everybody that's part of the chat, man. I mean, we have a lot of people in the chat right there. You've changed your life. No fluff, nothing. Thank you. I mean, we try to do the best with that stuff. So we appreciate that, and nice to have you here as well. Over 530,000 or so subscribers in the building right now. So thanks for that, everybody. Yeah, look, still waiting for that NVIDIA of 154. Hopefully it breaks, and then we can fly higher and higher on that one as we're in position here as well in the chip space. Neil just taking it with SMCI, and we have it there. We were getting more out of the futures as it came back in right there again. All right. Dan Ives, Great Fool Theory. Yeah, that is probably true. All right, so TQQ there. Let's go over to, yeah, this is the no OnlyFans show.
What's Greater Fool Theory?
Dan Ives.
No, like what? No, but
Greater Fool Theory?
But like with regard to what? Like I know what the theory is.
He always just talks up tech and is like, he's always,
I see.
like, you know, if you listen to him, you'll go in there and buy it immediately, you know. And it's just like, you're willing to pay as much as the next fool.
I thought we were talking about a specific.
No, I don't know what he's talking about. Someone mentioned it on the chat there. And I was part of a podcast with Dan Ives, and I was, you know, listening to him and speaking actually right after him when we did what's it called, a circle or something there on Twitter, Twitter Spaces with Dan Ives. No, great guy. Just saying he talks up tech. So
yeah.
Nasdaq could be going right now. It has all good points. I just bought the Nasdaq today, so I would like it to go up. I'm just saying, like, that is a good strategy. Get out when things start to change, right? And we did have him come through right now. So we were getting some more out right now on this as the Nasdaq
154
going right back up. Yeah, good, man. I mean, like I was saying, Neil and I holding the same shares here on NVIDIA as on SMCI. So I'm just as happy right now. We actually have identical positions with this. So right now I'm happy with NVIDIA going, and I know you're happy with SMCI. So let's just keep this party going to the north side as there it goes, man. All-time high break one more time for NVDA. Hey, let's just take $5 right there, $4.40 out. Is your phone charged yet there, Ram? Is it?
Of course it's charged. It's been
40?
sitting there
okay,
for
nice.
40%.
Yeah, it's been sitting there for like an hour maybe, a bit more than that.
It takes that long to...
I don't know.
40%? What kind of phone is
she
that?
has her... it's an iPhone Pro something.
Oh.
There, but there it goes. Nice upside there, 154.11. Nice upside take on NVIDIA. So right there now I'm out, and we only have half left of what we had initially during when the show started, but we already gotten more and more there. Nice move up, but again, we're still holding it from down here. The futures have gone away, so now goes Tesla straight up to the upside. We have such a small piece that it doesn't matter, but I got to put a stop out at some place here for Tesla. I was going to reload it here at the 200 period, which is kind of what we were waiting for. Even though I'm holding this against us, Tesla is still the third P&L stock here across all shows. And that was only one trade. So, and that's with holding this against me. Let's just go over here and tap out of this if it breaks 326, okay? So let's average in now and take a little bit more. If this does break 326, we're gonna get out. So we can put that stop in right now. Are we gonna let's see if we wanna get cute with it or not. That high right there is okay, that's good enough. I mean, I was gonna say the get cute with it is all the way up here, 326.30. We could do that. Why don't we just wait for that, 326.35. We'll sacrifice a little bit. Well, we just went short a little bit more there, so maybe we could take some profit and then make this sting a little bit less if we're wrong. 326.36, how about that? We'll market ourselves out if that does go in. So, okay, we got reloaded right there. We reloaded to the same position we had before, so this trade could turn red against us, but we just shorted, I'm gonna check the price, 62s. So right into here right now. Tesla looks like it's off. We know Dan Ives loves this name as well, so I have no idea. It's on CNBC right now. This is probably the squeeze that's happening. That's why I'm giving it a little bit more room. It's in total about like half a unit of what we normally would have. I don't think it's really smart to trade against, you know, like sort of flash stories like this that maybe show up, because just like when Josh Brown
I hate
on CNBC there and talking up his book.
Never buy those.
Yeah, so it's
no. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Unless you know what he's going to talk about before he comes on and can buy it before, never buy them.
That was what I was saying about tech, right?
But if you can't, it was Uber, the other day. It was Uber.
Yeah.
The last time, and I remember it being like, did we know he was going to come on at this particular time and mention Uber? Because if I knew that, you could have just punched long in Uber and got a quick little scalp trade. Like, as you're sitting there trying to figure out technical levels, you just got to know the time that he's going to say it, and then it goes up. And then if you buy the top, you just never buy the top of a wick unless it's real, like, news and something has changed in the stock.
Right.
Just never chase it. It's one thing like what was it was the day that the Saudi money was it Rivian? Was it Lucid?
What were we talking about?
It was the day with Lucid. It was like something the Saudis and Lucid.
Oh yeah.
And like every buy was just gold. Didn't matter because it was actual news. But don't chase it too far. I'm seeing. Okay, the buyers are now starting to come back into Nvidia. I was about to say there's way more selling in SMCI than there was the first time that it went through. But I think Nvidia also on the break, like it's only at 154.15. Like this is barely going relative to usual high-end breaks. And there are some sellers here. So it's not the same trade that it was before. I might have to put a tighter stop on this one. Let's go to the desk with Adara.
Couple things here. So I couldn't find anything on Tesla. I was trying to see on X if I saw any comments made by Dan Ives that were maybe moving this. People are very, very, very excited about the stock. Tons of bullish commentary, especially in the last minute or so. We're talking like tons of tweets per minute or second, but nothing specifically mentioning anything with Dan Ives. I also want to say with regards to the Josh Brown pump and how to play that, I was noticing there was a period where we'd see these, I guess his picks either come on CNBC Pro or Twitter before he'd appear. And if you got into those ahead of the pump, that actually was an effective strategy. But I don't know if that's necessarily still the case. That was just like a 2-day run about a month ago. Back to you.
Thank you, Dara. So like, I just went elected for the quick little scalp. Like if that's all you're going to get, like remember, ultimately, like I was using the momentum in NVIDIA as my reason for getting into the trade and then the timing of the trade. And the good thing about it is, you know, when you look at the point of entry, it never really goes against me. I think at maximum, it went 5 or 6 pennies against me, just using that as an entry. It might be the wrong exit, but the second I saw us really start to run into some resistance on NVIDIA, I'm just going to get out of the trade. Like what I love about that, I know what I'm keying off of. You can hang on. If you hang on to it, maybe it gets back into those highs. But this is not nearly as strong as it was before. And you got to remind yourself, too, I have at no point... I might have done it this morning, but no point in the afternoon show did I bother to zoom out to show you where you are at on SMCI. This is a stock that is at some pretty significant resistance on the daily. Like it doesn't have a close above like 46, which is where we're at right now. Like 46 is a monster level on SMCI. Closing above that would be big. Breaking out 48. And I saw someone say in the chat, how big of a barrier is 150 going to be for Palantir? It's probably going to be huge, and there'll be a massive offer the same way you saw big levels on NVIDIA at all the big even dollar levels. Probably still going to take the long anyway. It's going to take that breakout when it happens, win, lose, or draw. I think they're all worth usually grabbing. It's just a matter of having an exit strategy if it doesn't work. And sometimes your exit strategy is going to look good, and other times it's going to continue to go. So I don't mind taking the win, even if it'll be an L if we end up at the high of the day. Speaking of Palantir, now Palantir decides to go. Palantir was among the list of things that was only a good breakout. Like it was only a good breakout trade. So that's it. Like every other Palantir trade stunk unless you were long at $141.75. Everything else, like you take these little shots at it and it couldn't hold, and just, you know, like all of them relatively tight stops. The only one that's working is if you got this low. So the futures are really trying to go here. I just don't see a lot of buy in NVIDIA. There's got to be something else which is taking us. Like we're only 20 cents higher after breaking an even dollar 10 minutes ago on NVIDIA. So it's very slowly going high. Let me look at AMD here. AMD's starting to go off 143, but that's barely moving. I'm trying to find what's really moving here. Guap just said, bang, Tesla. Tesla's going to be at VWAP. Oh, sorry. Tesla is not at VWAP. My VWAP is wrong on that chart. So just this is not the volume weighted average price on Tesla. Was that Adara again? Okay, let's go to Adara.
Brian, TMO, nice little push up here. And thank you for the chat for pointing this out to me because I didn't see this on my news blotter. Stat News reporting that the NIH, or the National Institutes of Health, are going to be halting grant terminations effective immediately. So this would actually benefit companies like TMO. I did look into this. Thermo Fisher has received multiple research grants here, done multiple amounts of research with National Institutes of Health, which is the primary agency of the United States government for biomedical and public health research. So good look for TMO. Nice push up for this one. Again, a report suggesting that an email is saying that the NIH is immediately halting grant terminations. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Tesla apparently is that VWAP. I guess that VWAP's not going to be that wrong, but it's missing some opening volume, so obviously that's going to be at a higher price. So it is probably at the volume-weighted average price. Like this almost looks a little like program buying, which we've seen happen in the afternoon. I can't bring myself to chase on Tesla. I wanted something bullish to go bullish on. Tesla's just not necessarily going to be it for me. Anyone that's long Tesla, congratulations for sure. Dingleberg, that is why all the biotech's going. That's why Adara does such an important job for us here, because you never want to trade blind. I mean, ultimately, price action rules, and I'm all about just trading off price action. But if you don't have the news, I'm just going to let you go. Like, if you don't have the news stories, I promise you I would have gone green to red on BP, because like this lesson of the day was the dip buy on BP off the Shell news. I'm like, okay, let's go. We'll buy the dip in here. We get one move, tried another. When it broke the volume weighted average price, in the back of my mind, I'm like, Shell is still interested in buying them. I'm going to keep trying to play these dips. And then all of a sudden, Adara mentioned that Shell essentially said that they're not interested. And the entire story got walked back, and you end up all the way back where you started on BP. That's a good reason why the news does matter. You can trade price action, you can trade setups, you can trade technicals all you want, but news can flat out change things for you. And sometimes knowing the news can get you away from a disaster. I know I would have been long a couple more times. I like trading these things. So I like trading deals before they happen. I like trading deals after they happen. But BP, when I thought there was going to be a buyer underneath, I like joining those buyers, and that was nasty. Yeah, you know what? KK in the chat says Shell was lying. I have some feelings about that, but who knows? Maybe sometimes conjecture gets leaked as something firm, and they're just making correction. I don't know what the full story is. It's kind of dirty to hear interest in buying, and then you think something's going to be coming, and then they're like, no, there was absolutely nothing there. That's nasty, and I hate when that kind of a thing happens to anybody. But let's go on over to let's go back over to Adara. I think she might have an update. This is it's like that Tesla buyer in the afternoon that we used to see. Adara?
Yeah, just quickly, some context here for anyone who missed the midday and didn't see what BP did. Thank you for bringing that one up, Neil. So this one had a massive push to the upside. Wall Street Journal reporting that Shell is going to be interested. Not only are they interested in acquiring BP, the companies are in active advanced talks. Then Shell came out with a kind of non-answer saying that they're focused on developing Shell and basically not confirming or denying the deal. A little bit waffly. Then we had a Shell spokesperson out and out saying that they're not interested. So interesting look here for BP. A case of, as Neil said, story developing very slowly and then the stock reacting as it gets these updates. I just wanted to provide a little more context for that. Back to you.
Yeah, Nasdaq is really going. We did get, obviously, we got out of our Tesla. Still green on Tesla, but no longer one of the top stocks here. And we just put that on, so we're going to wait. I just see that Tesla right now is topping out, possibly. I don't know if it is or not, but I'm just looking at the charts. Like I said, I'm just a simple man. But right into here, this 327.50, 328. What an epic move. This is the best long push. And we talked about it. It probably is Danny Ives related. So, I mean, huge move up there for Tesla, and just got to be a little smarter about, you know, and again, we averaged it. So it was just the average in that wound up costing us. But I mean, the thing is, we took $2 on the downside, and then there's the average in there at 67. There's the punch out at 40. So we still wind up losing. But look what we just did right now. We just put it back on, and there it goes. Boom goes the dynamite right there to the downside for Tesla. Let's see if that is something that we want to watch out for. Waited for it to slow down a little bit. It just goes down to 327.12. We did reshort that at 76. So it did go 60 cents in the money for us, but we didn't have a bid out there. So we're going to have to put a bid now and see if we can get that back in now for us, as it is making one more move down lower. You got out of your SMCI, so that must have been good. We're still into NVIDIA right here. That continues to climb higher. So like I said, man, when Neil got into that, you know, we were both in longs on the name, and NVIDIA to the upside right now as it continues to go. Yeah, SMCI. I'll have a quick look at this as well, because it's probably, oh no, it did pull back.
It's pulling back. It's just,
yeah, pull back a little bit. So it's not at the highs like NVIDIA was. there either. So
the second its move didn't necessarily mirror what I wanted to see we got out of it. I'm back into Apple because on that move up, Apple couldn't break. So we were waiting for the next pop. It looks like it's still lower highs being put in Apple. If you're so inclined, like you'd make the argument, and not that I care about it, but you could make the argument that if you go topping tail from the opening of the day, this is actually breaking the trend. So in my mind, I had a tight stop before, but believe me, the stop is right at the prior bar high. So that's still going to be a very tight stop, and it absolutely on this time frame has broken trend. But it's not really going after breaking trend, but this is a bit of a trend break. So if it doesn't regain underneath the trend line quick, you could see this one at the volume weighted average price up at that 201 level. We just, I mean, Sean mentioned it, but I'd already said I got out of SMCI. There was also a 100K seller on SMCI that showed up. They took the fill, so they got filled. I mean, it ran them over, but they kind of jammed it up a little bit. But SMCI still climbing toward the high of the day. I pointed out the daily chart. A close above 46 is a big deal for SMCI. It has not closed above this price since this is all the way back into February. It's been up here before, it just hasn't had a close. So the bull move actually gets more bullish. It's not a very eloquent way to say it. The bull move in SMCI is even more bullish if it's able to close at these levels here. And we look again tomorrow. Like tomorrow, I think your default is long SMCI, long AMD, long NVIDIA, obviously. I hate to say it, Apple, but short Apple because it seems like every day Apple's a short. Oh, I forgot to mention this. This is the biggest fail this morning. There's only one stock in the entire morning show where like maybe is a short, and then Apple goes right into the first resistance level and then tanks twice off of it. So right back into the 201. Someone's buying shares at 201 on Apple, so you buy shares at 201 if you're short. If you're going long, I suppose that's the only place that you should also be buying it.
All right, man, we went to get a coffee and found ourselves in, we actually came back and just punched short. Right there on, like I said, there's the short there on Tesla, enters once again. The dollar club, but all right, so we'll just wait to see where it goes, man. Hopefully Tesla will continue to move down there as we just waited for that kind of a trade. Obi likes to call it wait for the backside, wait for it to go down. I just call it trading, and you know, came into the level, we take it, there it is, $1. So that's what I'm saying, like, you know, sometimes you gotta be patient with the trades, let them work out for you. And right now we're short here at 327.76, so basically right where it is right now. And I'm out this time of half. So now that we're out of half, we're trading with house money. So now that we're trading with house money, and we do understand that the Nasdaq has been pretty hot. The Nasdaq is at and broke all-time highs today. Let's just get out if and when we break. I mean, we're playing with house money, so we're short at 76. Let's just go 328. If it breaks 328, let's just get out. Let's put our stop in right now. And again, remember, we always are entering trades with stops in mind. So this one just, as soon as we got it, it tanked. So I didn't really have an opportunity to look at the stop, but we always knew that when you're trying to break through VWAP and you don't, the stop has to be a retest of that. So I could stop out at 50 right there, put the rest of that money in our pocket. But let's just see if it wants to get down just a little bit more. And that reminds me, now that we're at O's again, let me put another bid at 04 here. See if we get taken out on the bid and then let it settle down after that, right? I mean, you don't necessarily want to be the one that's sitting there taking fills on a trade like Tesla. Sometimes it is better to play the momentum and let this thing fall down. But, you know, we've sort of already bounced a little bit off of those lows for Tesla today, and it's down 4% in a market that's up. So let's just take advantage of what we're doing right now. We haven't traded that many names, as I keep saying. So we'll just try to be patient with it and wait to see if Tesla comes down in and gives us that fill. The TQQ position, all right, so that stop out was getting out of, I think it was a roughly around 75% of that, but we are now, okay, well, there it is. So we do get that Tesla fill down there at 327.04. So the good one, 75 cents in our pocket there. As far as the Nasdaq is concerned, you did have a nice little run there in the TQs back there to the upside. We're still not at our punch out point of 78.50, but again, pretty positive. This is the PNL2. So this is PNL1 today right here. PNL2 is the TQQs. and then P&L 3 will be Tesla. But I also have the biggest loser on board here as well, which is Palantir. It's just luckily Palantir is 20% of NVIDIA. So the fact that, you know, when you can do that, I think you're trading properly. So for me on Palantir, nice move there. Because normally I can get like caught up in this and just kept on buying it. So I'm kind of glad that we went away from it if we're not seeing it correctly. Palantir. All right, that looks like it was a great out for Tesla because now it's coming all the way back up again. So yeah, that's going to break 328 and we're going to get out of that, it looks like. And then this Nasdaq trade, just to double check. Yeah, our stop is a break of 50s. So I think we could probably reshort this, but heading into the afternoon, we said the market's barcoding and doing nothing, and it's kind of true. That's why we chose that short. Maybe if this breaks VWAP, we can get out of that. So 22,466 there on the Nasdaq is key for us. So that would sort of respond with that 78.60 level. I'm going to cancel that. Let's get a little short here at 50s if we can, then use a break of VWAP as our out. So looking to reload into the short here on the Nasdaq, and then that's about it. And we'll ride this pony home till 4 o'clock. And then we'll be on the upside of Micron, and we'll wait to see what that has. My call for Micron is down. So I think regardless of the report, I think Micron is down tomorrow. So we'll wait to see what happens with Micron, but that's my prediction on MU. So we'll see. Its high right there is 129.50 or so, all the way back into 127. So yeah, so far so good. I keep asking Adara that we need to update that pick thing that we have so we can get a
So I'm updating it on Tuesday because that'll be the next day of the new month. I update them once a month because I think that's fair and I think it gives it a more accurate sense. I will update it once the month ends, which will be in like a couple trading days. All
right. The only reason I say that is because right now, so much has changed since the last time that we posted that. Yeah, it'll be crazy. Yeah, every month is great to do that.
Especially this last month.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, look at Coinbase, look at Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin's been on a couple of people's minds. I don't know if anybody has Tesla, but that's obviously had a move in the last couple months. That is for sure. All right, man. So there it goes. We doubled our net on Tesla during that whole back and forth there, but still stops us out as it does break above 328 right there, and we get stopped out. So 25-cent hit there on Tesla, but we had just got out of some there again. We were lucky enough to get that fill. And look at that, man. We might have just touched out the top end of that one on Tesla. So that kind of sucks, but yeah, that's what trading is. And again, I got to stop out if something like that happens because it's not really worth, you know, letting the day go bad. And it's not that it was going to go bad, but even giving back like 10 or 15% of the day when you're having a good number, it's not worth it. Like if I was up $100 or something like that, then, you know, maybe I don't mind blowing it all. But, you know, it's like you got to keep it in your pocket and make sure that you make trades regardless of the net. But I don't like to be wrong on a lot of shares. So that Tesla was a pretty tricky trade there. All right, so yeah, I'm going to try to get a little bit more short on the TQs right here, right now, and then use, again, that 78.60 or so area as our stop and just, you know, challenge the futures to make another run at the afternoon high. So that's going to be what I'm doing and looking for more fun trades moving forward.
Look, right now we're just riding with Apple. NVIDIA just lost 154. I'd watch out for if you're trading like AMD or it's still an SMCI, which I'm not, but NVIDIA just got back underneath that 154. I'd be a bit careful with that. Chewy is an upweight. So Chewy's already 1.6 million to buy. It's not even 330. It's an upweight today in the S&P 400 with several million shares expected to be bought. If I can just do some quick math. I see if you add it up, about 4.6 million shares expected to buy. So that could easily grow. And when that came out, that 1.6, it shot up a little bit here. So I'll be watching this. If I see any updates, like if this goes from 1.6, starts climbing 2.3, if you see me punch into Chewy, it's because that happened. I'll let you guys know. And just because, I say this every single time, but some people, maybe it's their first time watching the show, just because the early look on the imbalance is indicating a buy, doesn't mean at 350 it's going to come out as a buy. It could come out as a sell. It could come out as a buy smaller than this. Both of those will be reasons to get out of a long if I find myself in one on Chewy. So S&P 400 upweight tonight, effective at the close. It's already starting to go. I only want to get in if I see it grow. If I see 1.6 go above 2 million, then I want to go long in Chewy. There's a lot, if it's literally at the low of the day. If it was at the high of the day, I probably wouldn't be that interested, but the fact that it's at the low of the day makes it a little bit more appealing. Why can't I flip? There we go. Kind of flip over to Apple there. I don't know why I had to hit enter like 3 times. So Apple's still buyer at the 201 level. It's almost like it's just a lot of accumulation here at 201. And it's not as if this is a big level. It wasn't a level yesterday. It wasn't a level the day before that. It's just today someone seems to be accumulating and it won't seem to break past this 201. So I might not be able to get more than this out of that stock. But as I said, if I had actually held SMCI to the high, which I did not, I 1,000% would be getting out on this trend break after watching NVIDIA pull back in. This could easily pull back into VWAP if NVIDIA has enough profit takers to take it lower. So we're going to hold on to Apple. I want that 201 to break. Yesterday, it absolutely flushed at the close, and I had gotten out. Like, it broke down, I got out at support, and then watched it make another leg to the downside. So this time I'm trying to hold through that first support level and see if we can break and get to the low of the day. Adara, some news?
Keep an eye on UNH. Capital Forum reporting that apparently the DOJ antitrust leadership is considering changing the direction of its ongoing investigation into UNH because Donald Trump has been very focused on pharmacy benefit management here with regards to a lot of these insurers. Now, apparently, the DOJ antitrust leadership is considering focusing more on the PBM or pharmacy benefit management aspect of UNH for their investigation. Not really moving the stock much. It's actually kind of not in today's high, but certainly local highs for UNH. So yeah, again, DOJ antitrust leadership reportedly switching the focus of its investigation into UNH, according to a report from Capital Forum. Back to you.
Okay, I feel like that's been a disappointing stock. It's just the volatility's pretty much come out of it. Like, even today, that's an inside day all the way. It's great if you're just one of those people that, if you're an algos probably do really well with this. You know, they sell in front of the 05 and they buy in front of 300, and they do that kind of a thing on stocks that are not moving, but they're moving. It's $5 is $5. Like, it's not really moving, but it is moving. And I think for a human trader, you'd have to have a really good reason to be looking at that today. It needs to break out $320, or is it just high? 327. I'm in this. Like, a lot of people bought these dips on UNH. I'm like, as long as it holds 280, I'm looking for the 50-period moving average. The problem is, every day the 50-period moving average gets lower as your target. Like, the longer it holds a consolidation, that target becomes a little bit skewed. But so it's kind of a nothing burger, unfortunately. I was asked in the chat what buy target I have for my personal account on Circle. So just to be clear, I answered that I'm not trying to buy Circle in my personal account. When saying this is an area in the 150 to 160 that I'd look to make a day trade dip buy, that's not me wanting to pick this up in my long term. Just to be clear, I know sometimes we'll throw levels out there. I don't want anybody to get the impression like, hey, I want to buy this in my long term. We say that on stocks that we actually hold in our long term. I don't hold Circle. I don't plan on buying Circle. I'd never say never. It's not like I would never buy the stock. I just have zero intention of picking it up. And even if I was going to, I like to see a report. I waited on ARM famously to see a report. That ended up being a bad decision for me, but I still did it. I wanted to see a financial report. Ended up being an absolutely horrible decision because I did want that one on the IPO. Yeah, that's one I won't live down because I actually remember on the day that we traded it, that's one of the few times I've ever said, oh, I kind of want to own this stock. And then I didn't do it. And then I watched it make fresh lows, thought for sure I was going to get 30 something because there was some weird old price when it was private that I thought that worked out to like $30 at the valuation. And I thought for sure I was going to get it. I was like, oh, it's going to get to this price level because that's a key price before it went public. And it never did. And the rest is history. I eventually got in, but you know,
yeah,
it cost a sum because it's a stock I like. It's one of my bigger holdings, and it sucked. If you like a stock on IPO, just buy the IPO price. You know, if you're going to hold it for 10 years, does it really matter? Or forever, I should say, does it really matter?
Yeah, I mean, most IPOs go lower than their IPO price, but
I was thinking.
you know, that's
But-
nothing wrong with that thinking. But right now, the only fail would be that, because right now we open up the gates of hell for the TQQs. We got stopped out on Tesla. That sucks, but you know, what are we supposed to do as it just goes right down? At least we had it, man. We got stopped out by 30 cents on that one. But guess what, man? We did it. We had confidence in that one. What's up, Warren? Hope you're doing okay. I'll talk to you after, my guy, because I'm hosting a show right now, as you know. But we got on the TQs, and we talked about, you know, where we wanted this again, and we'll just find out right now what's going on with the TQQs. And this trade. So again, I like the trade going short there off of those highs, and we're just trying to threaten it to break that, and it almost did. So nice move to the downside. We've averaged into this trade. A good, really positive trade for me today on this. So we'll just continue to watch out for that. I did want to look at Eli Lilly. Again, we switched out of Google because I'm just so much into Nasdaq names, and I got out of 25% or so of my Google holdings, which was one of the bigger stocks in my portfolio. You guys know that. We've been talking about Google for 5 years, well, ever since the show started. And I was never really into selling anything ever until all these highs kept on coming through. I bought some Eli Lilly. We got out of Google into Eli Lilly. We're long here around 750. It's not like it's a huge move up or anything like that. But today, covering up some of the last week, we had a bad week for Eli Lilly. Some Novo Nordisk news came through. We had the Hims and Hers dropping back down again. And then, of course, they're always going to be looked at by the FDA and, you know, any kind of trial that comes through. But anyways, Eli Lilly continues to be a star, I feel like. If we can get something maybe back up to here, 820, and then grab our 10 or 15%, probably take some out this next time it comes up to there. So watch out for a 200 period moving average coming to a trade near you with Eli Lilly at some point. So, all right, I have less than 1% left of NVIDIA. Like I said, we were just really small on this one all the way up. We were large down here, one of the biggest positions, but I'm going to wait for the 200 period to break. So that right now that's at 30. So I'm going to change my order. It was at 20 before. So now I'm going to wait for that 200 period to break, which is 34. So I'm going to go, let's go 153.34. All right, let's just, if it breaks that, then we'll get out and top off the day there on NVDA. Yeah, Reddit. So Reddit's another IPO again that, you know, Neil was just talking about IPOs. This name does, you know, get hit off of its IPO price. Like it, there it was $46, rips all the way to 70, comes back in, gives you $38 or so, which isn't that much different than 46, but nice move down. And then since then, you haven't got a better price. It did come right back into its IPO about 6 months after the fact, but that was $50, and you had to load that up. You had to load that up. I think I was so into Palantir, like even when the name was a baby, like it was just IPO, just like all of these. And I was part of the direct list on Spotify. I was part of the direct listing here on Palantir. And unfortunately, this chart is not loading up anywhere. Oh, that's because it's Nasdaq. Okay, hold on, because it flipped over. So if I go over here to Palantir, I just want to show you, just to go back and discuss a little bit about what can happen, you know, with IPOs or direct listings or anything like that. So like this is where I first got in at $9. It came out at $9.20. It rips up to $40. We had a lot of memes going off on this time because it was 2020, 2021. So they direct listed basically right in the mouth of COVID there, September 2020. And then went all the way up into $40. And you might have been like at that time, oh boy, what, you know, we've missed the move there on Palantir. But guess what? It came all the way back in, and then you had 2023. So you're talking about 3 years later, about 2.5 years later, this was a $6 name. And then this happened. So we were lucky enough to even buy more of Palantir when we believed in it, but it just kept on going to the upside. There's a weekly chart for PLTR. You know, it was $5, let's call it $6 back in Christmas time of 2022, I guess, into 23. So that was its all-time low, I guess, right into there for PLTR was just to the point of IPOs don't always do like what we've been seeing. This one came out in 2020. As long as you didn't buy a Chamath sponsored SPAC or anything like that,
SPACs aren't
you're probably okay.
SPACs are just different.
Yeah, SPACs are different and horrendous, like I said,
not the
especially
same thing.
if you got the Chamath ones. That's been a disaster. And if he comes out with anything else, let me know, because the short key will be ready to go right there. But 336 right now, yeah, good move down in the TQs. You guys know we're waiting for NVIDIA. We're just sort of stacking on stacks right now with this trade, because we're already having a great day, but we wanted to add to something. So we did add to the Nasdaq short. So yeah, let's go throw it over to Neil.
And you know what? If you want to find price history on a lot of IPOs, go all the way back, maybe track what the best strategies might have been, as to how to trade them, swing them. eSignal's somewhere you can do it, and you can do it for free, because 1 month is still free. The first month available to everyone watching here at Trader TV Live. Trade smarter, not harder. It's all about reliability and a wide array of. You don't have to use every single tool, every indicator. As a matter of fact, most indicators, heck, don't work for everybody. But they're all out there for you, so you can back test your strategies, so you can forward test. You got level 2 access. I can go up, look at Wolf, and answer a question about Wolf by pulling up the monthly chart here for you. I could trade it if I wanted to. It hooks up to multiple brokers. It's got everything you need here in eSignal, guys. So scan the QR code to get 1 month free. Try it out. Step up your trading game, and if it doesn't work, hey, it didn't cost you anything but time, but hey, if you're trying to trade, you're gonna put in time regardless. Might as well give it a shot. Now, there was a traders community, I see you're asking about CoreWeave, but there were a few questions about Wolf, and you know what? I'm probably not going to say what somebody wants me to say when they ask about a stock like this. I think there's a play that I've done before on these types of stocks. I would never touch them with a 10-foot pole without even knowing anything about them. There is a distinct possibility I'm gonna say with pretty decent confidence they might be going bankrupt. I don't know that for a fact, but when the chart looks like this, it's telling you something. I don't see any reverse splits. And when I look at this on the daily chart, I would suspect maybe that's a path that they could go to get compliance. If they don't, sometimes what you can see down around here is the old 50-cent bounce where someone tries to get it back up to the dollar for compliance. Because it's holding the 50-cent level, what you usually look for is a consolidated buyer at 50, like a nice little rounded bottom, which, look, it's not doing that right now. Like, you've got a hole already. It's trying to do a rounded bottom. You get a little rounded bottom off the 50 level, and you take a breakout into the $1 for a scalp trade. Maybe you hold a piece for the dream with a tight stop on it, and then you get the heck out of Dodge and are happy that you got something out of a penny stock. I've done that before in swing trades, so that's maybe the only thing I'd look for here. But it would be an in and out if you can find it, because I think these guys are probably going under, if I had to guess. And you don't want to get caught. Like, there's so many good stocks out there whose charts don't look like that on the daily, weekly, or monthly. It's one thing for a good stock to dip. It's another thing for this. Sorry about that on Wolf, but that's just how I see it. I believe we're going back to Adara.
Neil, you are not incorrect. So what happened here was we had Bloomberg reporting on Monday that the company is apparently planning to file for bankruptcy on July 1st. This came out again on Monday, so this isn't new. It's a couple days old. On Sunday, though, so the day before this bankruptcy filing report, apparently Wolfspeed announced that they entered into a restructuring support agreement. So you're totally correct, Neil. The story with this is people are expecting they're going to file for bankruptcy. To my knowledge, they have not yet. Back to you.
Okay, well, that gives you, there's another chance. If they haven't filed yet, we've seen this before. So that it's usually, sometimes it's the day of at the bottom or the day after the filing, where you get like the day they file bankruptcy, you get like a big shock to the downside. If it's at 50 cents, maybe it goes to like 20 cents or something. It holds that low. You take a quick shot at a dead cat bounce into the prior high, and Bob's your uncle. That's another trade we've seen work. It worked on Bed Bath & Beyond, I believe, the day after. It could have been Bed Bath & Beyond. It might have been something else. But, yeah, good luck if that's what you want to do there. Kumar, what do I think about Mullen? That's jokes. I know you're probably just asking me that as everything I just said about Wolfspeed, Mullen is like that times 10. I just don't understand how they keep getting away with diluting so they don't go out of business. So as long as Mullen continues to dilute, they just dilute, reverse split, stay in the market, and it just seems to work out for them. So I can't say they're going to go bankrupt when they manage to keep rug pulling shareholders over and over again and can get away with doing it. Yeah, that chart's no better. They just somehow keep the scam alive. All right, so it's 340. Apple broke 201, but didn't get to the low. I'm going to give it a chance to press back down. I still think this one can get lower. It's certainly relatively weak, and I'm reminded what I saw at the end of the day yesterday on Apple. Oops, I zoomed out a little too far for you guys there. At the end of the day, it was something similar to this. Actually, it was a much better move yesterday when you look at it, because it was clean off VWAP. This isn't quite the same thing. It's really stair-stepping down more so than it's falling all over itself when I give it a better look. But yeah, maybe I should at least have a trail on this. I don't want it to go past. I had my stop at 40. I'll at least put it at break even, because I don't think I should lose money. This isn't the same trade as it was yesterday. There was one green candle in the last hour on Apple yesterday. Now it's actually got buyers at 201. So this seems like it's more of a scalp trade, everybody. So I'm going to step away from getting too greedy on that. By the way, Chewy is...
Ooh, Chewy.
Well, what the 100... Okay, so it's still... see how this threw me off? I don't know why it does this.
Yeah, it's a million.
It's a million. But my first thought was like, oh crap, it's not a million anymore, but it's smaller, that buy. I'm expecting 4 million on Chewy. It's only 1 million shares. That got smaller, so I might have to throw that out the window. When you're looking at a close trade, you just want something binary where it's what you're looking for, you hit it, you get the move in a couple of minutes, and then you get out. So if it's not perfect, you just don't do it. The idea being you want things that are like 80, 90% probability setups. You take it, and you're only holding it for a short period of time. So it has to be perfect, or I don't touch those at all. And when they're good, they can be really good. But 1 million shares isn't going to move the needle for me on Chewy. 7 minutes till the imbalance is going to hold on to some Apple. Nothing else is an early look of any significance, by the way. You guys can see that here. Like when the Nasdaq comes out, that's when you'll see some real fireworks for the imbalances. My guess.
Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to think about just exiting everything. We already have exited the majority of our futures trade, but we still have a piece on for sure. We have about 40%. So when I say the majority, that was of 40% of the last reloaded spot right there. So nice pullback, and again, we're going to see if that Nasdaq does come out. Neil just went over everything. Could be a nasty one. CL. Let's go over and see what's going on with crude oil today. Shout out to everybody in the oil space. Yeah, good one. We called the bounce yesterday, but it's not like it's a huge bounce or anything like that. I was just looking again and see this is not the continuous contract. Unfortunately, we don't have that on our software. But yeah, I was just looking at this break right there, thinking about a hold at 64, and we talked about it when it came into that. So yeah, I think it's a good hold, but you know, if there's never going to be peace in the Middle East. But if we can get away from sort of what we've been talking about there and maybe just move on, and maybe Iran and some sort of a nuclear deal or whatever it looks like, you know, then I could see oil continuing to go to the downside, because then you don't have all the pressures again of shutting down the strait and all this kind of stuff. So, but I for now, it looks like a good hold right there on oil, $63, $64. We could check out the DXY. I actually have that up right here on TradingView, because again, we don't have, it's not a stock or anything, so we don't have it on our spot, but you can see what's been happening right here to the dollar today. So it's a nice move to the downside in the US dollar. I don't know maybe what's related to that. We can look at rates and things, but right now the DXY index downside. And if we go over to, I was gonna say a 60-minute chart, but 40 minutes, 45 minutes might be good enough. Looking to break lower right now. So we did have a pretty strong dollar. I mean, if we go into a daily chart, you'll see it's, I mean, those of you that know, we had a huge move up there as we got, you know, really euphoric on presidential move. And this is right when he was elected down here in October, November. And then boom goes a dynamite right up to the upside on a strong US dollar. And now it's come back in a little bit there. So you have to also watch out for some gold and things like that. But DXY was 110, now back down into 97. That's a pretty dramatic move right there. But we've had strong dollar strength for a minute, and it just, you're pretty close to losing that level on the DXY. Let me go over to a weekly chart just to see what exactly this looks like. Yeah, so 97. So yeah, I mean, you are set. Like if this was a stock, this would be on the sticky note tomorrow for a big break lower. So we'll have to wait to see what happens here with the US dollar as that continues its move. Let's see what the 20-year is doing here. 20-year treasury. So again, on a weekly, looking very, very similar. There it goes. We did get another out on the TQs as that's coming. Got it. All right, let me just go into a 45-minute chart as well. Okay, so on the daily or the weekly, it looks similar, but you could see here treasuries. Like I said, remember I was just like, there's probably a move happening right now in the treasuries, so in the rates. So there it goes. Nice move up right there today in the TLT. So coinciding with a down dollar move, you have the 20-year bond, treasury bond, going back there to the upside. So yeah, you're almost about to break the other way here on the TLT. So back all the way, you're gonna take out June highs right now. That looks pretty strong. I've never invested in anything like this. I actually don't hold any fixed income. So I am the opposite, I think, of what you're supposed to do in your account.
Are you supposed to at our age?
They always say, I mean, you should never be 100% equity.
Okay. I don't know what they say, but
that's what they say.
But you don't. But like to me, like conservative to me is holding like dividend ETFs. I don't know any fixed. To me, fixed income was when I needed a down payment on like a condo, and I'm like, okay, well, I know I need this amount, so I'm just gonna I'll stick it in this for whatever it was. It was like 6 or whatever. Sense. That's what I like.
You don't
want
to lose it over 6 months or something.
I couldn't have lost 20 or 30% in the market on it, knowing I needed the down payment at that time and at that age, so I make sure I lock away.
I'll be sure.
That's what you use for. Can I? Yeah, because I'm not sure what you're supposed to do because I'm not really into that.
I'm going to say it's 70-30 for guys at our age, like me being 35, you being 55.
Fair enough.
I think it's a little bit. Neil and I are friends from high school, so we're roughly the same.
As Sean's doing that,
Neil was in high school for 10 years, so
yeah, 20. CoreWeave is breaking down. Everyone's been talking about CoreWeave, and I know we've only really mentioned Circle and not CoreWeave. Apologies for that. 8% down. It is flat bottom breaking. It's at the low of the day. It's absolutely plunging. And I think, why not? I haven't traded CoreWeave in forever. I've traded some Circle in the last few days. Not today. I think twice in the last 5 sessions I've traded it. But not once have I traded CoreWeave. Tomorrow I'm going to pay for locates on CoreWeave because this seems like another leg down makes some sense in here. It's going to close underneath 160. I think a hold underneath 165. You're getting the back end of the trade here on CoreWeave. Where's my trend line drawer? Man, this broke trend. Yeah, paying too much attention to Circle. CoreWeave is really broken this trend now, so why wouldn't it be back at 120 or $100? This actually has a 50-period moving average, which is at $100. I think CoreWeave is looking like a short. I'm going to pay for locates tomorrow morning when I sit down. And it doesn't mean I have to use them because if it's at $185 and breaking out when I sit down, I don't have to do anything. But this looks like a bit of a short to me. That looks kind of nasty. And bounces are out in about 1 minute. What did ChatGPT tell us to do?
Yeah, exactly what I said. So like I said, man, not just a pretty face, because if I was just that, then we'd be in trouble. But there it is right there, exactly what we talked about right here. We're 45 years old. I'm hopefully going to retire a little earlier than 65, but if I did retire at 65, what they're saying right now is 60 to 70%. I mean, forget about U.S., international, all that exposure, but that's the equity side, and then there's the fixed income. So I was like, it would probably be 70-30, so that's exactly what it is right there. Not financial advice, but there we go. So, again, I like to read up on that kind of stuff. So
I go back to...
I did know what they said, and that's where I'm saying, like, you should have some fixed income, but I never have, so we'll figure that all out.
I always find there's other ways to make your portfolio safer if you want. Anyways, I go back to this one interview that a former Fed chair, it was a former Fed member. Oh, by the way, just very quickly here, imbalances came out. So I'll finish it after. NVIDIA, 1.4 million to buy. That's kind of small. Ford, who cares about Ford? Kenvue, who cares about them? Chewy, only $1 million. That's not really going to cut it for me. I thought we'd be 4 million, and it's only 1. So it's just NVIDIA. I did move to break even on Apple. I don't even see Apple in here, but I guess it spiked anyways. Yeah, so I moved the stop. Well, I guess I put it, happy accident. I must have put it underneath break even, so I actually somehow made a couple pennies on that. I thought I put it a little bit above my entry price, but it looks like we got it at Apple, so that's good, at least. But I didn't see a buy and balance there. The market, is that right? 1.1 million to sell? Sorry, 1.1 billion to sell. Nasdaq 0.5 million to sell, and the Mag 7 2.4 to buy. That
doesn't seem right, but yeah.
The market's over a bill sell. The Mag 7 is literally nothing. I don't even see anything big. Oh, where did Tesla come from? that wasn't here a second ago, unless, whatever, I'm getting old. 1.1 million to sell on Tesla at least, so that's a sell imbalance. And I want to see Steve Canyon asking about SMCI, what's going on there? What is it still going up? Or I know NVIDIA pulled back and we're under 154. SMCI still back at those highs. So your chip names have been the jam. SMCI is going to, now it's going to close over 46. That's pretty bullish. First close above 46 since February on SMCI. This feels like this is stage one of a move on SMCI. Well, you could argue stage two because it bottomed out here at 26, but this move still has another breakout to go, and then maybe a bit of a squeeze into the high, I'd say the high 50s, maybe not the 60 level. So SMCI, we're going to favor that long tomorrow. And yeah, Joseph, I would suspect Tesla probably would have moved on that 1 million sell imbalance, but not a lot. It's only 1 million shares into 110 million in volume today for Tesla.
Yeah, it's funny that we got stopped out there on Tesla at that high side. Oh, I switched over my TQs because we just got a bunch out there. So I'm going to get out at 40 break just because there's no point. I feel like it is a buy imbalance, even though we read sell imbalance. It's just the market's going up. So the market's going up. That to me means buy, but it doesn't matter. We're going to get out if it breaks 78.40s on that one. I mean, the best we've got recently is 16s, teens. We got 06s there, and we're pretty light on that position. But I did want to. Oh, it was Big Bear AI. So, you know, we're in this name right here as well. Obviously, a big middle finger to the longs today. That was one to the shorts yesterday. Here's one to the longs today. As Big Bear AI yesterday up 27% or so. Today giving back a good chunk of it, down now 8%. I'm going to take advantage of this move because we'll still be red on the name, but we actually making some back here. We're long at 77. And it was good. So we'll take 5 cents. It's not the, okay, I'm also sitting at 83, I thought. No, I'm at 84. So a little bit of a move higher here. Again, there is a buy imbalance, but yesterday Big Bear AI did 300 million. Today it's 240 million. And 1.5 million is just, like I said, a rounding error. So that's 1 million shares right here. That's 92,000. So when that just turned into 1,000, that's 100,000 plus all the hidden shares plus everything. There's probably over it's going to have to do more than 1 million shares to break through 83s, you know. So the imbalance is not that important, but it's going to the upside right now. So we'll continue to watch it. What is it sliding down here? Slide right now, SLDE, nice move down. See, this might be more important. You see what I'm saying? This is a volume right now of 1.1 into an imbalance of 900,000. So you do get a nice move down, a nice little volume spike of 100,000 to the downside right there. All right, we may not get the price we want on Big Bear AI, so I'm going to offer some 83s and see if we get that. I may even cross down and get, shoot, I was going to say I might even just cross down and try to get a half print there, but we just missed it, so I should have potentially made my mind up right there. All it is right now is paying for some ice cream, and it's not like we're not doing anything right now on Big Bear AI. We got 82s there. I hope we get a little bit more. What's up, Adara?
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Trade the Pool. We got a behind-the-scenes look at Trade the Pool. The dashboard tracks your progress in real time, live stats, profit, and more. You can break down every trade, see your entry, exit, and how it played out on the chart. Check the certificates page for your full summary, achievements, and payouts. In this clip, that's Michael T. He's already earned over $75,000 in bonuses, or total payouts. Trade the Pool gives you the tools, and the capital to go further. Ready to level up? Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code on screen. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. And at kind of as expected, anything that was a big imbalance has flipped or changed. BBAI wasn't there. It's now 1.5 million to the buy side. Chewy's still a buy, only 1.2. So that might have worked out for you, I think, if you took a shot at it. But I don't know if you saw, but BBAI, that's held as an imbalance. Usually if it holds after 355 on a New York stock, you look at 358 would be the next significant time. And if it still stays, sometimes it'll hold right into the close. Chewy going to the S&P upway to the S&P 400. Like, it's not like you couldn't have taken the trade. You would have gotten 10 or 15 cents. But it was only 1 million shares to buy when I was expecting 4. So it didn't really fall. It would have been a rule break to try to take that one, so even though you would have gotten a small scalp trade. I just don't see that as being that significant. Only 4 minutes to go in here. Join Adara and I in the aftermarket recap for Micron earnings, and maybe not the, it's always better, there we go. It's always better, I think, when you've got room to go into earnings, as opposed to when the stock from April has more than doubled in price. And it's not to say Micron usually moves like this. That's the other problem. It had a long chop zone, which is broken away from, but things better be perfect here. And they're not exactly a company that in the past has been known for being overly, let's say, market friendly with their guidance. Let's just say they fall on the Intel side, where they usually are pretty conservative with that. And it's good. It's okay when you're a good company. It's really bad when you're an Intel. But there's a bit of a buyer walking it up as I look at it here. But I don't think that necessarily means anything. It's kind of already come down. That person's probably going to get filled. But I think at the end of the day, I'm always here to play the price action on Micron or on anything. And I do feel like there's better chip names almost regardless of what Micron does tomorrow. Like, I will come in tomorrow thinking NVIDIA and SMCI might pass AMD for me. The way that SMCI behaved today, I just feel like it was a little bit better than AMD in terms of price action. A little stronger, better levels on the daily. So I think that'll be the number 2. But I'm unlikely to trade Micron. I never want to say never, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to be the one. We'll see. Anything's possible. Maybe Micron's up 10% tomorrow. I'm just not really a believer. I think SMCI is really primed for a breakout, and that's just more interesting.
Yeah, I said earlier, I think my bet would be Micron downside, only because it's so far away from the 50-period moving average. It just had such a huge run that it almost has to be perfect to come in. So if that comes in right there, then great. I don't think it's coming in that far. I just think it's primed for maybe a loss on there. It's funny, I went to the bank. We were just talking about portfolio management. I went to the bank today to discuss something, and I had to they suggested I have a meeting with their wealth management division, and we did I was sitting right there with the branch manager and somebody else. I don't know what her position was, and we made the appointment, and we both sat there, and we were looking at our phones, and we were looking at our calendars and everything, and we made the appointment for July 1st. And I put it in the calendar, they emailed me it and everything, and I just get an email now, and it's like, what? Oh, July 1st is Canada Day. We're closed. I'm like, because I don't have it in my calendar as a day off.
Yeah, because we don't have it
here.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm sitting there in the Canadian bank.
That's on them. What are they doing?
We literally, we're looking at their calendar, and they wanted me, I'm off on Friday. They're like, well, can you come in Friday? I'm like, no, I'm not here. Anyways, long story short, I got to get a big AI, but I was just like, oh, yeah.
Did you at least bust their balls for the person that made the appointment with?
No. Oh, the lady there who I was talking to
bust her chops
went to Turner Fenton.
Who?
You don't know. She graduated in 2010. It does.
Oh,
the name doesn't matter. Like
2010.
I know. Yeah. So it was irrelevant.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't know.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
maybe we.
It was a funny story, but.
Shoot! It's. I'm gonna get up to.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Get over there. We only have 1 minute left. 30 seconds left until. So we just can't get out of our Big Bear AI. It does wind up making a little bit of money back, but we'll still have a red mark on our account for Big Bear AI, class of '98. Neil and I, high school there. All right, so 10 seconds left. We want to thank everybody for joining us today, and especially thank Origenics, listed OGen on the NYSE, sponsoring the closing bell and throughout the day as well. And there it is. We are now closed on the Nasdaq and the NYSE and North American market. So we want to thank everybody one more time. Thank you for all your patience this morning, man. It means a lot to us. We did have some technical issues, which were just power outage here. And then by the time we came in this morning, like Randy was here early, couldn't figure it out. We had to wait. We got Mark in. We want to thank Mark for his help, Fabian, Ramin, Andre, everybody for their help this morning. And we want to thank everybody for their patience as well. So there it goes. It's Neil, it's Adara, it's Micron. And those earnings should be imminent, I would think. So, all right, thank you everybody for joining us. We're back here tomorrow at 8:30. I talked way too much today. I can already feel it, so I'm going to take a little bit of a break there. Tonight, go have fun with your loved ones, and we will see you tomorrow for for now, as long as they're ready, they are ready. Got the thumbs up. All right, over to Adara and Neil for your afternoon recap show. Good luck with Micron trades, guys. Ciao.
Thank you very much, Sean. We've got Micron earnings expected after the bell. That's going to be we'll see what happens. It's an implied move of 8%. Its move last time was 0.9% for Micron, so you never know what you're going to get. As far as the chips go, this was not necessarily the one that was leading the way for anybody here today. If you were watching, which I know you all were, this was all about NVIDIA. All-time highs made in NVIDIA. As a matter of fact, closing 4% to the upside, breaking the 153 level. It's out and about. Fantastic look here. There's the monthly chart in NVIDIA, so you can see the strong breakout. What an unbelievable story that has been. But you break it on down, other chip names were fantastic as well. We had SMCI was up almost double digits, looking very, very strong.
Is pushing higher.
Micron is now going. So hey, Micron decides to go to the upside. We don't have I don't see any numbers on them yet, but it is at 134, breaking out here. Now $5 to the upside on Micron. Let's pop it up. You want to see the daily chart? There wasn't much in terms of resistance on the daily, but there is something at 137. So I would suspect it's underneath the expected move of 8%. So I still think you could have some resistance at the 137. Adara, what are the numbers here?
Yeah, I'm going to read through more like the actual report too, so I can give you guys more context. But I can give you the top and bottom line, which is what we all care about first and foremost. Q3 adjusted earnings of $1.91 per share. That is a nice little beat compared to estimates of $1.60 per share. Sales, $9.3 billion, nicely beating estimates of $8.87 billion per share, or sorry, not per share, just billion in revenue. They guided Q4 revenue apparently $10.4 billion to $11 billion. That is well above estimates of $9.89 billion. So they beat. They have a higher than expected, well, I guess they double beat, and stronger than expected Q4 guidance, I guess adjusted revenue guidance. Unsure what that entails. I'm going to keep reading through this report if there's any other context I can provide. But Neil, nice little move for Micron.
Yeah, so much for conservative guidance. Like, that's a great guide. That's a top bottom. We used to call it the trifecta when you beat top bottom and throw out a good guide. So let's throw it back in here. You got the triple move. You got the trifecta. You're up to 136. I still think I'd love to see it break and hold above 137 because all things are good. It's still in an upward trend. It's holding some of those highs. Maybe not the acceleration you want to see. It's worth keeping in mind. The implied move was 8%. So you'd like to see it do a little bit more than that. Try and push that boundary. Is I always find it's going to be better. But don't forget here, the sympathy plays, and it's not. Look, these are not all chips are the same. But you have NVIDIA just breaking new highs at the end of the day. I saw in the chat, I didn't look at this one, but Marvell breaking resistance at 76. That's pushing in the aftermarket here. So you're going to find some strength in some other names. It's going to move the SMH, is going to move in sympathy, of course, all of the ETFs. But that's a big beat top and bottom. That's great guidance for Micron and what was already a strong day for the chips. And the best part about this is the chips were strong in a day where market strength was overrated. I mean, the Mag 7 were disappointing. Pretty much every single squeeze and momentum breakout name that wasn't a chip name got smoked after breaking the open and then trended down today. Whether it's Circle, whether it's CoreWeave, whether it's Robinhood, whether it's Coinbase, Hims and Hers did this. I could probably name another half a dozen. So that's even better that the chip names are going because there was no other bull party really.
Yeah, and I was actually lucky enough to be in two of those shorts, Coinbase and Circle. So it's interesting too. You can sometimes feel like, oh, what am I doing when the whole market's moving higher? But sometimes those plays are even better. And you and I think, have definitely talked about this, or it's been said on the show. Yep. Sometimes when you're in something that's moving with the market, that's awesome. When you're in something that's moving distinctly differently from the market, that can sometimes be an even stronger indicator. With that in mind, though, I want to talk about Micron's numbers, and then I want to provide a little caveat that I think is worth noting. Micron here, revenue of $9.3 billion, as we mentioned earlier, but I want to do like a month or quarter over quarter and year over year comparison because it's pretty stark. So that is $9.3 billion compared to last quarter, $8.05 billion, and last year, $6.81 billion. Like, that's a massive year over year increase here. Their GAAP net income, pretty much the same. Operating cash flow, nice year over year increase. Yeah, so 37% year over year increase for their revenue. Now, before we get into this, like, yes, they beat, they raised guidance. I want to show you guys this chart. I posted this on X at TTV Research. So I think the thing to mention here is look at this annual revenue. This is so rocky. Usually things will generally be an uptrend or generally in a decline. Like you saw the Black Bear annual revenue chart. You've seen NVIDIA's annual revenue chart. I've never, as someone who's made a ton of these infographics, I have not seen one this rocky. So the year-over-year increase in Micron, you might have to take that with a bit of a grain of salt because it kind of is super choppy by nature of what it is. I don't know. I found that pretty interesting. So something I wanted to add as a caveat. Not relevant to the report, but I think if you're looking at context for that massive year-over-year increase, I do think it's important.
Yeah, and this is a strong move. There's no question about it. And I saw in the chat people are loving it. SOXL going to be up as well. Oh, looks like we did bounce off that 137 temporarily. So, like, it's a bit of a roadblock, but I think this is the aftermarket. So, in liquidity vacuums, you're going to go to just zoom out, everybody. And sometimes and we have Brian Shannon on Tuesdays, you can pop like anchored VWAPs from all-time highs, which would have already been broken for sure. But then you go back to the significant levels. And it's not that it touched 137 once. It was simply, this was a wall that mattered because when it held here for about a couple of weeks, it fell apart after breaking that consolidation. When I look at a price level, especially on the long-term time frame, because like if I was long here, I am getting out of dodge when it breaks a consolidation like this. So those resistance levels matter a ton when it comes back. So 137 has held, but it's still pretty bullish. It doesn't beat the expected move in Micron. Maybe it gives you a little bit more room to rally. Certainly anyone trading it, I would hope that you've taken profits to the long side. Everybody, CompuCare team, I see you in the chat there as well. NVIDIA still going higher, 155. These are all-time highs for NVIDIA as this continues to be just, as I see in the chat, save man, woman, peace, great name, by the way. It's just a different beast. You know, and NVIDIA up 5 points today, but they're the leader, and sometimes people forget that they're the king. And the other chip names have been going more percentage-wise, but they don't have, they're not busting all-time highs. AMD's been great, and SMCI had a good percentage move, but NVIDIA is the one breaking all-time highs today, and it's been a straight shot up since their earnings as well. If you look over at SMH, everybody, as you might expect, well, it'd be a problem if it was down. Big spike up in SMH, and I'll flip you. That's just to show you what's happening on the Micron earnings. Now, obviously, they're not that big of a name, but check out the breakout. We're about to get to the highs on the SMH here. It's just a stone's throw away. Just need a couple of more moves on individual names breaking back out, and I think you're going to see those highs. Now that the market's got to the highs, you're getting some of these laggards pulling back up, and the semis here are doing a very, very good job of it. In a sea of red, Adara, it is just all about the semis because, like the Qs, I shouldn't say sea of red. The Qs are flat today, but I would say disappointing. Here's the thing: we should always make this distinction. As a day trader, when I see a chart like this, the Qs were short today. They were weak. They were a sell. That said, it's up 0.26%. And it just comes down to your perspective. If you're talking about it from the previous day close, yeah, it's up 2 points. And that's why I love TraderTv.live, because we'll let you know that it was a bearish day on the Qs, with other places be like, and the Nasdaq was up 0.2% today on the back of blah, blah, and then read a bunch of good stuff, when really it spent the entire day selling off. Yeah. After a gap up. And we should care more about what the actual action was with regards to buying and selling on an index or on a stock than just simply where it gapped to. That can matter some, but to a trader, I think it matters more to recognize that we're in a downward trend literally until right at the close. We broke the trend on these Micron earnings after market.
Yeah, and I think also the gap can kind of provide context for how people are feeling going into the session. So we had a lot of course, weakness and uncertainty coming into Monday's session. That was pre-ceasefire. That was after, the U.S. struck Iran. But then that had a little recovery, right, of course, on Monday. Then we have what happened here today where we have gap up, seemingly positive sentiment. Then we have a lot of comments from, Donald Trump during the NATO press conference. Fed Chair Powell had a very eventful Senate hearing, and I'm going to mention maybe some of my favorite moments from that later when we have time. But either way, I think the one thing, too, is you can't really look at the percentages. Like Coinbase, for example, as I mentioned, really nice short if you had that when it capitulated off that almost 370 or 365 at the highs. But anyways, once it kind of got to that level, and like you could be at the lows. I think it was still up on the day. So it's sometimes not about the percentage. It's about that change in sentiment and how it moved. I want to talk about this chart I have on my screen. It's Kratos Defense. This is not a small cap. It's about a $6 billion market cap, 6.6% short float, and KTOS actually announcing a $500 million stock offering. That's why it's to the downside. I just wanted to bring this one up for you guys. Here we closed around, actually not badly here, 42.30. So this is actually better than the rest of the market for Kratos. Right now, trading around $39. So we've dropped like what, $2.50 since the close for our friends at KTOS. Definitely defense plays on watch. PLTR, I think for sure as well. One to watch. This made all-time highs, and then it did something on that I immediately put on my chart from my watch list for the next day, for lack of a better term. This topping tail into all-time highs near 150. I do not like it. Sam, I am. So that I'm going to be watching that maybe for more downside, but you have to wait to see what the market tells you, because lately these gaps have just not been reliable.
No, and you're dead on. And like whether it's Palantir, as you mentioned, Coinbase, and we're just talking about with the Qs, there were so many of these breakouts that in the afternoon show, like it just seemed as if everyone's like, oh, can you look at this stock? What's going on with that? It would just be something which was spent the entire day trending down. There was strength out there. NVIDIA closed at the highs. SMCI closed at the highs. Even Tesla made a bit of a rally. You had to find the places. It wasn't all that great, but remember, this is just a healthy symptom of a bull market. Like it's not as if every single, like a stock that goes up double isn't going to have pullbacks. On a daily chart, like would you be on a level of 1 to 10? What's your level of concern with this little bit of a reversal at the high on Palantir if you're a long-term holder? Now, with a day trader, it might be enough for you to say, hey, I'm going to look for a short tomorrow, maybe back into like a, I don't know, like the high 130s looks like a pretty reasonable target in there on the daily, 137 or so. That would be a drop in the bucket on the daily chart, but as a day trader, you can come in there and try to take advantage of that. Like it's not doing a circle where everyone's guess is as good as the next person how far Circle and CoreWeave are going to fall back to the downside. Like Palantir making a bit of a top, that's not that crazy. But you do have some names in the middle where I think they don't fit in either bucket, and that's something like HIMS. And the difference with HIMS is a lot of the rally, if you're going up because of Novo, and all of a sudden the partnership is gone, then I don't see a pretty good reason why we're not headed back into the 30s. Like, look at the 200 period moving average on a HIMS and the price action that we've seen on the reversal, just losing the gap, losing the 50, today closing at the lows. Once 40 goes, I think you're just getting ready for it to break down underneath 35 and then catching a bid somewhere. Now, will it be at there's only two places I look for something like this, at the 200 period that it's respected or at the actual support low at 25 bucks. So this is another name in a long list of false breakouts that just trended down. There's traders out there, this is their favorite setup. I know you like this setup.
I do like this setup, actually.
There were 100 of these today.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying, it's not hyperbole. There was probably 100 of these today.
It was great.
You could have done this. Heck, you could have done it with Mullen this morning. I got to know there's penny stocks that did this. There's small caps, mid caps, every single sector. As we go through, how about I'll just throw something up, which I'm pretty sure had something like this. Let's look at it. OKLO. I haven't even looked at this stock today. I just am like, okay, well, let's pull up. Quantum and nuclear probably did the same thing. Breakout at the open, failed break, trend down the rest of the day. This was a profit-taking day on anything that had been going parabolic. So you got to try to separate things out here. What are the stocks that have an opportunity to stay on program, hold prior resistance, hold key support, base out, and resume, and what are the ones that are breaking down that you should be patient with? I think your CoreWeaves and your circles, you really got to wait for. I think HIMS you got to wait for. I don't know how sold I am with Oklo. And here, although this, now that I look at it for the first time, it actually looks pretty solid if it can hold on to 50 to 55 in the next couple of days. But you should be separating the things that you think have some continuation after a reversal like today and the ones that you want to go into the dip buy. The chips all look very good. That's an easy place to start for longs tomorrow.
Yeah, and I want to actually talk here even about Circle because, so I talked about this a little bit. I was involved in this at the 226 short today, and there were a couple of reasons for that. One was the 226 level was intriguing. Yesterday, intraday, a little bit of support resistance, but also like look at this 15-minute downtrend. This is from all-time highs. We hit it. I think this is pre-market on Tuesday. We hit it again off the open Tuesday. We hit it pre-market this morning. We hit it today, right off the open, the 227. So, you know, for me, like sometimes you, when in doubt, zoom out, right? You can think about, of course, Circle's been on watch for being really strong lately, but if patterns emerge, I think respect those as well. This is something I'm going to have on watch, but then again, things can always flip up, right? Go ahead, switch the style up. And if they hate, let them hate, watch the money pile up. We really never know what's going to happen in these here markets. I want to mention as well some news coming out of the Middle East, more specifically from U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff. He's saying that Iran's civil nuclear program cannot have enrichment. And if they actually do work on that, it's going to be a red line if they try enrichment again. He also said that the U.S. is, quote, having conversations with Iranians, which is kind of vague. But they said that they do think they'll have some big announcements coming soon in that regard. I just have SMR up. Keep an eye on nuclear. It's not really doing much. But yeah, I think what's interesting, you can like have these patterns, you can have these trends, you can have the sentiment, but it's really like only price pays. Something that Brian Shannon says sometimes, other people have said. Ultimately, you know, like we thought oil would be really strong with the war, and then they kind of sold off regardless. So you have to think about what is the stock telling you, what's the price telling you. And I think sometimes too, like this is one thing I, at least myself, thought about. It's one thing, like, you know, I love having rules. But sometimes the rule should not be like, oh, what, you know, has the bar broken? Should be, when are you wrong? Because sometimes there's like these wider things in the trend that can tell you that, for lack of, I guess that's what I have to say there.
100%. And you know what? I was just thinking of a name that actually fit the bill for some falling precipitously and waiting for it to get to level and bouncing. We actually mentioned this morning. You saw the energy names come in recently. And rather heavily. Let's go to the daily chart so we get a better idea of what I'm getting at here. Like if you look at an Indo, yeah, like it's obviously when the rug got pulled on oil, this was going to go down further because of all the ridiculous moves that it had already made to the upside. So it did a couple of days of really, really bad. It's down 8%, but a lot of that is going to be the gap. It bounced. This is a 50-period moving average and at $3 on a daily chart. Now, when I pull up this 3-minute, look at what this did right after. This is 9:40 in the morning. It bounced off $3.01. So if you waited for this to get to its 50-period moving average, I mean, what a reversion trade that gave you. That's a 15% move off the low. As a day trader, I had no reason to be looking at it over chip names, but that's a good opportunity. But outside of that little bounce, like get in, get out, it's right back at the lows. Now, when I see something like this bounce off a level like that, and I would use this as an example for, you know, Oklo, or maybe you're looking at Rigetti, maybe you're looking at Hims, whatever it might be. You hold that level. I don't want you bouncing off that and closing right back at the low. No, you want to bounce off that level and hold some higher lows and show strength off of a dip like that before I'd want to get involved in it. So I'm not saying go in and it's one thing to buy the dip at Indo at 305 with a stop of 6 or 7 cents and get a day trade out of it, and to sit there and buy it up after this move and just think it's going to go back to $6. So you just always distinguish between a trade, swing, and an investment. Know your time frame out there. Oftentimes, we'll always try to let you know exactly where our mind is at with regards to the levels that we're talking about and the stocks that we're talking about here. I just want to quickly, if I can, go back over to Micron, because as the only earnings name out there, it is worth mentioning. It's starting to fall back a little bit here. It's still up, but after tagging that 137, it has yet to find a bid. So it's still falling, not falling all over itself, but it's still pulling back off that 137 level on the daily, despite beating top and bottom with strong guidance with Micron and strong year-over-year growth. It seems as if there's some selling coming into this name, and it has yet to pick up a bid. Always interesting to see where it catches the bid. Just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I was just gonna put this in the chat, but I'll just say it out loud. I have a lot of earnings here, smaller names people want me to go over, so I have no problem doing that. Start with Steelcase here for Harry Lou, because I didn't put that one in the chat yet, SCS. And this actually is not that bad of a report. They did have an earnings beat here, 20 cents per share versus 13 cents expected. Sales beat, 779 million versus 762.42 million. EPS and sales guidance for Q2 a little bit more rocky. They guided adjusted earnings between 36 and 40 cents per share. That is in line / a little bit of a miss compared to estimates there of 40 cents. Sales, 860 million to 890 million. Lower end of that also missing estimates of 878.8 million. The midpoint also is a miss there. So Steelcase with some mixed guidance there. For what it's worth as well, their Q2 GAAP EPS guidance was like really bad. So 27 to 31 cents per share versus 39 cents expected. Let's go over JEF. That would be Jefferies. It's another one people ask me about. And this one and the last one I also put in the chat. On Steelcase, the only one I didn't, so we'll just go over these out loud. Jefferies Financial, 40 cents per share versus 44 expected for earnings. Sales a beat, 1.63 billion versus 1.56 billion. Let's take a look at, what was the last one? FUL. Take a look here at FUL. This is HB Fuller. This one, not a lot of volume as far as I can tell. Q2 earnings beat 18 cents versus, $1.18 versus $1.08 expected. Sales miss 898.095 million versus 899.955 million. So that's a tight miss there for HB Fuller, but they did raise their guidance for the fiscal year for EPS. So good look here for FUL, even though, again, the earnings report itself was a little bit mixed. That's it.
Yeah, that one, at least, Fuller, it's got something going on the daily chart here that's a little bit better than, I think, some of the other smaller names that I've watched. So this could be a setup, at least for HB Fuller, because on the daily, you've got a pretty solid bottoming tail candle. You've just reclaimed the 50-period moving average with room to the 200. Like 65 could be a bit of a thing, but you're, knock on wood, because we've just had the earnings move and it's very light volume, you're holding above 59 bucks, which is a local high. So you've got a little bit of a chance for a breakout here on HB Fuller. Nice little bottoming tail. It's definitely broken a downward trend, which does matter. I mean, I could tell you that it doesn't have a bad price to sales and all that kind of stuff, but we're not talking an investment here. We're just looking for an opportunity to trade it. And I think the 59 level is going to be key. You're seeing it consolidate above that, so that's a good sign, right? You make a top in earnings in that vacuum and you pull back and you hold a high that matters or hold a prior resistance that matters. Well, it looks like it's getting a shot at that 59 being a hold, but the volume is so light on this that I wouldn't be that confident about any of that. Like, I want to see if something is doing real volume after market, relatively speaking, holds a significant bid, then I'll come in tomorrow really confident in using that price level. Micron's still trying to hold something. It just tagged 131 and a third. I saw someone in the chat saying, and I don't know this to be true, essentially saying, always short the up move on Micron on the earnings. It's a pretty good play. Well, 137 gave it to you. I don't know if that's going to be true. I haven't back tested it myself. Because the strong move that the chips had, it's going to be too far away from a significant support level, because the obvious place to look would just be the last time it was up here, big support at 128. What do you think the top was before today? It was at 128. So it becomes a very tricky trade from support and resistance, because you could be all the way back down here, and on the daily chart that looks good. I don't want it to go down there. I'd rather be basing longs somewhere else. That's why I think we'll be looking at SMCI and NVIDIA more tomorrow. Just to go over, I love what we're seeing out of SMCI, so I want to kind of cover it again. SMCI closes 9% up. NVIDIA was fantastic with an all-time high break. 5% on NVIDIA is clearly, on a monetary value, much more significant than 9% on SMCI, just in terms of market cap. But SMCI on this daily chart, you can see what's brewing here. And I'm not saying this is going back and retrace the entirety of the move. It's simply the significance of this area that we're trying to break away from here. 48, the local high, you break that, all that's left is the 50 level, and then from there, you've got to move into 60. So step by step, and above 50, I think it gets a little parabolic. This is the first close on the daily above the $46 level. Every time it's rejected this 46 since we had the move into 60. That's a big close. You open above there tomorrow, I'm thinking long. And if I get burned on it, I get burned on it. I think it's a strong move, a strong probability play here with a good upside. It's more about the risk to reward of SMCI in the next couple of days and weeks than anything else. And when the market's not all that strong, Adara, I'd rather just find the good quality risk to reward longs if that's all that's going to be available. I don't want to be taking any C and B plus setups to the long side after a day like we had today with all that reversal in it. I want to see things that were holding strength and trying to, instead of catching falling knives as the first mode of operation tomorrow morning, I'd rather find something.
Brian Shannon also called it out like a couple minutes before it broke, talking about the anchor VWAP from the low of day as a level. But yeah, I mean, that was something. So I tried that, like the re-short when we broke the 15-minute prior bar low. Didn't work. Tried again in the 30. Didn't work. Waited. That was my last attempt. We broke that low. And I didn't take everything out at lows. But what's interesting there is I think the fact that you can try things multiple times, but make sure you're not completely slamming into it. Like make sure what I like for if I'm going to try something that didn't work necessarily the first time is try to make sure your impetus or your mode of entry is slightly different than the first time around. Because if you make the same mistake twice, right? It's not necessarily going to work unless it's a case where, you've waited all day. The situation is a little bit different. But I find my biggest issues are what I keep trying to hammer in to something at the same level for the same reason in the same direction. Like, just be patient. Wait to see what the stock tells you. Because if it's worth trading, it will communicate to you. And if it's not, then it won't. And that's, you know what I mean? And just if something doesn't work, just keep a cool head, move on. Where's the next trade, as Obi likes to say. And yeah, I mean, I think just that being able to sit and wait for the right opportunities is so, so important. And I think today was a good example because there were a lot of good ones, but not if you were like slamming into everything. Yeah, that's sort of the thing. Patience does pay out big time. And also knowing where you're wrong first. I've said this time and time again, if you don't know where, it doesn't have to be a stop. I like to say where you are wrong, like what's the price and what is my out, but it could be some kind of a break of a trend that's a moving target. It could be an indicator that you're using. Whatever that is, you predetermine before you make the trade what wrong means to you in that trade. Because if you don't do that, then you don't have a trade, you've got to gamble. And like at the end of the day, trading is hard enough if you're just going to be stubborn about it and not have an out and not know where you're going to be wrong or just say, oh, well, I'm wrong here, let's just get back in and make up a different price. It doesn't work like that. You're just going to find yourself bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, and eventually, maybe you'll catch a win eventually, but that's not the way to be consistent. Build a strategy, build a plan, know where your outs are going to be, what's going to entail being wrong for you in a trade or investment, swing, whatever it might be, and that'll help you save a bunch of money in the long term, trust me. That's just absolutely true. I've seen way too many traders fail for that simple reason. They just did not have a defined reason to get out, and so therefore they did not, and then they lose more. Because here's the thing, when it's going up, you're going to take profit. Yeah. Right? And it's going to get to a level, I'm going to take some profit here. Everybody does that. Most people don't have that I'm holding for infinity kind of thing going on. And if that's true for like 90% of people, it's so important that you have an out. Because you're going to limit yourself on the upside to some degree. Everybody does it in a trade. So if you don't limit the downside, I don't care how successful, oh, this was a win, that was a win, you're just going to lose money over time. Yeah. So anyways, with that, I didn't really mean to like go on a bit of a rant, but I think that was a great point by you, Adara. Before we get into roll call, I can't stare at this board with MSOS up 6% and not at least call it up, everybody. How? Maybe, just maybe, MSOS is up 6% today. Maybe, just maybe, there's something a little bit brewing. Let's acknowledge, I did say you have to look at what was strong on a day where most of the trend was to the downside, and the weed names happen to be strong. Now, I'm probably not going to trade them tomorrow, but hey, when the board looks like this on the ETFs, we should at least acknowledge the big ones. So shout out to anybody that maybe got a weed long today. I certainly didn't look at them, but it's roll call time, everybody. Let's be real. Let's give a big shout out to everybody here. And when I say everybody here, if you watched the stream in the morning, it was a major power outage in our area. It was like we came in and like everything was
was a lot of stuff was broken down and rebooted and had issues on reboot. And the entire team worked tirelessly to get us the stream today. And it's been buggy because we had a bunch of things still failing. But just a big shout out to Fabian, Ramin, Andre, Mark, Randy, obviously as well, Rob, some faces that you don't see that work tirelessly to make sure that we got you guys a stream, because when the market's open, we're here for you. So I want to thank them first and foremost. Big shout out to the Midday Boys, of course, the Bash Brothers, to Sean, to Adara, to Brendan. As always, big shout out to you guys. You're the absolute best viewers out there. If you want to be in the roll call right now in this chat, hit the subscribe button, everybody. Subs only chat. Hit that subscribe, and let's get the roll call, Adara.
Yeah, thank you to everybody. Thank you to Neil, Sean, Sharif, Joe. We have Brendan. We've got Fabian, Ramin, Andre, and our awesome production team, people behind the scenes that you don't see, Randy, Rob, Mark. Shout out to our construction team. Shout out to Nephew with capital P. We have Kazard. We have Mr. Briggs, Adam DeLuce, Chase Bance, Pitchbull, Jake Robert, Snake, 215 Sugar Free, Swirling Brain, Dinkelberg, Leonel Martinez, Jay Singh, Hans B, Michael Spadafora, Adrian, Discount Printing Experts, Drop Trades, J10, Michael DCA, Wall Street Only, Roger Noonan, Trendline, Tycoon, Prather Fam, Indecisive Candle, Compelled Cat, Bright Awakening, AD33, Los Pollos Hermanos, DH, Yatube, Plug Life, Susie Fox, Johnny H, Anthony, Queen J, Sebastian Ontiveros, Braybro 12, and Roger Noonan. Once again, we'll end with Mike, Peter Ryder. Thank you guys so much for being here with us every single day. Tomorrow will be a brand new day with, I'm sure, lots of excitement and maybe some true social posts, because that's what it's all about. And also Nike earnings, that I know for sure.
Get it, Adara, which I'm going to say every single time when you kill it, which you do every single day.
Thank you.
And I got to give a shout out to, I heard you read the name, and I got a chuckle out of it because it's Jake Robert Snake. When the Midday Boys were talking about their favorite finishing moves, I immediately was like, it's the DDT, and that's Jake the Snake. That was one of my favorites growing up there. But shout out to everybody. It's going to be a fun one tomorrow because volatility is here. Whether you're trading to the short side or the long side, there were plenty of things that are moving, and that's what we want to see in the market. So with that, everybody rest up. Hump day's behind us. We got a couple more sessions. We'll see you bright and early, 8:30 in the morning, hopefully without a power outage overnight. We're Trader TV Live. See you tomorrow. I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.